It's time to wake up with a nice cup of morning roast.
Oh, yeah.
Featuring Aponte Hill and Joe Shesky.
Well, I'm about that action, boss.
Take him out! This is the morning roast on 95.7 The Game.
Oh, baby. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I want to get into some things here outside of sports. One, I want to get into, well, I guess not outside of sports, but Shasky softball game, but something around this building. It feels like every single week in this building, something's breaking down. This morning, you're waiting on the elevator, and I see love is like, oh, yeah, you have to go to floor 3, then you have to get on this other elevator, come back down to 2, then you get off at 2, and then you walk all the way back around the studio. It's just always something going on. It's a hell of a way to get a mortar started.
It is.
You're freaking out. You're like, I can't get in the building. I
know.
It's like 6:03. I can't get in the building. I'm going to be late. But we're here.
You told me you got a great sleep last night.
I got an amazing sleep.
Did you see what was happening on social media last night?
I did not. I checked out at around 7 o'clock. I went to bed around 8:30, so I got a full 8.5 hours. It was great.
There's a player for the Yankees, and his name is Aaron Judge. And
oh, yeah, didn't he hit 61 last night? I'm kidding. I'm joking. Great home run.
Yeah.
It's like Roger Maris.
It's just funny to me. You know, I guess I'm now part of the media, even though I don't consider myself part of the media. I definitely don't consider myself a journalist. That's for darn sure. Because I'm giving opinions. That's the job. The job is to give opinions, assess what's going on, sometimes look into the future, break it down, talk. Yep. That's what our job is. I'm not one of the journalists. But the real journalists are showing their you-know-whats today.
Showing their ass.
Always.
What happened last night?
Aponte, the same core of media who printed so much money off the steroid era, they're coming around. All the old-timers, John Heyman, are coming out of the woodworks.
Be careful, he's not a C
I don't
insider.
care if he is.
He's not a C insider. I'm just saying.
Coming out the woodworks.
Don't want to go to the principal's office.
I'm just using him as an example. And they're like, oh, this is the real home run record. Look, it happened. All right, the steroid era happened. Like, can we just come to grips with it? It happened. All right? Yeah, Bonds was probably a little supersized. So were all the pitchers. The greatest pitcher and hitter of their generations, 7-time Cy Young Award Roger Clemens, 5-time or 6-time MVP Barry Bonds. Yeah, they were on steroids, and so was everyone else. Marvin Bernard, Bobby Estalella, a bunch of guys were.
Right.
Jason Grimsley, doing the catwalk as he's trying to go back and not only steal a corked bat, but also give HGH to the entire Arizona Diamondbacks, staff.
Right.
Everyone was doing it. All right? And we just decide that we're going to omit history. Let's get Roger Maris' son out here, and let's ask him what he thinks. A, I don't care what Roger Maris' son thinks. That's number one. And B, we had a zillion guys break the 61 record, and ain't nobody said a damn thing.
Nobody said
why?
a damn thing.
Because the Tom Verducci's of the world and the John Heymans of the world were being employed and they were selling clicks and books and articles and jumping from this company to that company, and they didn't say a gosh darn thing. So the one thing that I want to say today, and you're going to hear Roger Maris Jr. get brought up a lot, I don't give a rip what Roger Maris Jr. thinks. When Joe Montana's record was broken by Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, did we go get me Joe Montana Jr.? Gotta find out what he's thinking about Tom Brady.
About Deflategate?
I mean, what are we doing? I gotta get it. Roger passed away. He passed away in 1985. All right?
Oh, man.
And he said, this is the same guy in 1998 who was crying when Big Mac hit that home run and rounded the bases and gave him a big hug. Like, the selective jurisprudence and outrage, the media this is why people hate the media, Aponte.
Wow, I'm looking at his quotes right now. Judge should be revered for being the actual single-season home run champ. That's really who he is if he hits 62. And I think that's what needs to happen. I think baseball needs to look at the records, and I think baseball should do something. So, Roger Maris Jr. So now, baseball finds a way to piss off Barry Bonds once again and all his fans and all his faithful.
I'm just sick of discrediting that era. It happened.
Aaron Judge This is what he said.
Oh, no, Aaron Judge has been stand-up.
That's the record.
Exactly.
Barry Bonds has 73 home runs. I watched him do it. I stayed up late watching him do it. That's the record. No one can take that from him. So Aaron Judge is saying that he doesn't own the record. He says Barry Bonds owned the record.
Yeah, but what do you think the media is doing? They're snatching Roger Maris Jr.'s quote and they're running with it. And
It's actually embarrassing.
I'm fatigued.
It's actually sad.
I'm so fatigued
It's
by
sad.
it.
But you know what?
God.
This whole process, and we've had John Heyman on the show. I don't care. If he doesn't think it's the record, he doesn't think it's the record.
Would you let him, on a lot of these baseball writers, teach your daughter how to throw a baseball?
Probably not.
Exactly.
Probably not.
Exactly. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have an opinion on baseball, right? So a chef came at me. This is something interesting. People are like, well, Joe, you didn't play in the NFL. What do you know about football? I go, well, Belichick didn't play in the NFL, and neither did Bill Walsh.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they can't be a student of the game. So I'm not discrediting people who didn't play. But what I'm saying is that when you look at the body of work and the resume on some of these people who were literally the top-paid journalists during that era who turned a blind eye, and then years later in retrospect, after cashing every single check and selling hundreds of thousands of
they're going to
newspapers.
capitalize on it, and then they're still going to rip them.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
You're a fraud, and you wonder why a lot of people don't like the media. It's not all of them, but it's the fraudulent behavior of a few who we blanket as all of them.
Well, they've already made they basically have showed their ass throughout this whole process.
Well, you let in Yvonne Rodriguez and David Ortiz,
David Ortiz, and all these guys get 100%.
Baseball.
Baseball does it to itself. I mean, the moment, like 925 said, kind of stole the words right out of my mouth.
What's that?
Comcast Business Text Line. The moment David Ortiz made the Hall of Fame, any argument for Maris as the home run leader was completely invalidated by Major League Baseball. So you let David Ortiz in, who was on the Mitchell Report, yet you prop him up on all these platforms, Fox Sports, ESPN, Home Run Derby. He's now one of the many faces of baseball, and you let him into the Hall of Fame. Baseball contradicts himself all the time. So Roger Maris Jr. wants to say that's the real record. Again, you're spot on when it comes to Mark McGwire rounding the bases, and his entire family was there hugging him, saying, you deserve the record.
Remember that?
Yeah. Do I ever?
We want to talk about fraudulent moments in history.
Right.
I mean, that was one. And Big Mac, over there crying as he's hugging him. I mean, come on.
You know what? I'm happy that I went to sleep. I'm happy. I saw the whole run. I thought it was awesome. He smoked it out there at the Rodgers Center. It sucks that nobody caught the ball. The bullpen coach caught the ball. Many people missed out on thousands and thousands of dollars.
I agree with you there.
That stunk.
Did you see the guy that whiffed on it? Do you know what his name was?
No.
Frankie Lasagna.
Yeah, Frankie Lasagna.
No,
Yes.
He whiffed on it, right?
Frankie Lasagna?
He had
Whiffed on it.
What did he do? So he had a great chance of catching that bad boy.
He just whiffed.
Was he too baked?
He may have been.
That's a 4.
May have been.
That's how you make lasagna.
Yeah, I know. That's great. That's great.
By the way, I had lasagna from Westlake Joe's last night. Let me just tell you. Chef's kiss.
Yeah,
Delicious.
Westlake Joe's is great.
Delicious.
Westlake Joe's is great. Original Joe's is great. What did I have last night? I had soup. Chicken noodle soup. How about that?
Dinner
Apple
talk.
juice?
Dinner talk.
Dinner talk. All right. 888-957-9570.
No,
650 pisses me off that David Ortiz is in. So now we just pick and choose
And
who gets in from the steroid era.
That's my problem.
But yeah.
That's my problem.
And to continue to dilute. Like, if Mark McGwire held the record, do you think there would be outrage like this?
No, I don't think there should be any. Look,
So is there some prejudice, some racism going on here?
I think I'm in the minority.
Seriously, if Mark McGwire had the home run record, would people be going crazy like this?
No, I don't know. I know people just hate bombs. I can admit that. But here's the other thing, B. I find it. Look, I don't even know if Sammy Sosa is a good guy or not. I know that in my eyes, he was one of the people that I know for kids in my neighborhood who played baseball. Sammy Sosa was like a god. Sammy Sosa was one of the greatest players of his generation. Now, I know he took steroids. He even used a cork bat, right? It's the same thing I say about Albert Bell. Like, you cannot tell me that these guys' careers didn't happen. They happened.
So
it happened.
You know what makes me outraged about baseball when we think about the Hall of Fame?
We pick
think about
and
the home run.
choose.
Yeah, we pick and choose. Because you're telling me that Gary Sheffield's not a Hall of Famer?
I mean, come on.
In my lifetime.
Got to play every
When
position.
I started watching baseball in 1989. Sheffield was easily one of the 25 players.
Most feared right-handed hitter.
Feared right-handed hitter.
Totally agree.
Speed.
Totally agree.
Outfielder. Good arm. World Series champion. Dude's got over 500 home runs. Go look at Gary Sheffield's card. And then you got Fred McGriff. I watched Fred McGriff change a pennant race. Fred McGriff, one of the most feared left-handed hitters. There's a picture of Fred McGriff, Barry Bonds, and Ken Griffey Jr. back in the day, and I'm just like, damn. Those are 3 of the best left-handed hitters in all the game. But Crime Dog's not in the Hall of Fame. Why? I mean, the Baseball Hall of Fame, they just continue to get it wrong. They're a complete joke. And I'm glad I went to sleep early because I didn't see any of this. I just kind of mute those guys where they talk about, Barry Bonds doesn't have the home run record. Okay, whatever.
Well, you know what the irony of all this is?
What's that?
A doctor allowed Mike Trout to be cleared for HGH, and he was Spadoni, am I wrong here? The HGH thing with Mike Trout, he got basically caught because they allowed him to use HGH to come back from an ankle injury a couple of years ago. And so to think but what I'm saying is that to think that all these guys aren't doing performance enhancers, Kirk Gibson, one of the greatest moments in the history of baseball, was aided by him being able to actually go out there because of a shot. And I'm not saying there's a big difference between doing the cream in the clear and doing that. But where do we draw the line here?
Yeah,
that's just what I keep going to. Are you just going to omit the entire era? Well, then why is Pudge
this is what I don't like. 415. This is what I don't like because it happened to Terrell Owens. 415 Comcast Business Text line. Had Barry Bonds been more personable and easier to talk to media-wise, maybe that negative stigma around him gets overlooked and he gets into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
Yeah.
Now, that's not right because T.O., I'm looking at Terrell Owens, didn't get first ballot NFL Hall of Fame because he wasn't a nice guy.
And it's one of the dumbest things ever.
It's one of the dumbest things ever, which is why T.O. said, screw you guys in Canton. I'm going to go to Chattanooga. Now, it was funny. He was in Canton this year for Bryant Young. He was sitting next to Steve Young.
I know.
Which is pretty funny. But, because they're not nice people, all of a sudden you take it personal. You're like, you know what? This guy ain't a nice guy. Screw this guy. We're not going to make him first ballot. You mean to tell me that T.O. wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer? He's one of the 5 best white receivers in pro football history.
Are we going to take O.J. Simpson out of the Hall of Fame?
Nope.
At the end of the day, was he a good dude?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a terrible dude.
How about this guy by the name of Ty Cobb who killed someone?
Yeah, no.
In a bar fight.
It was racist.
Oh, well, Connie Mack. He's one of the worst of all times. Again, Connie Mack. It's just I get so I love the game of baseball, okay? I love the game of baseball. And I hate the way it's covered. And I hate the way it's talked about by the select few.
What do you think the solution is?
This is what I think the problem is that too many people for too long, the power was in the pen, the people that were writing about the game. And I think we need more people who are involved in the actual game to be more prominent in the coverage. I think that's where it starts. I'm not saying that you have to be the greatest player in the world to be able to talk about it. I'm just saying we need more Dallas Bradens. We need more people like that who celebrate the game. And
Hunter Pence, Javi Lopez.
Here's where I would start.
Kirk and Kite.
I would mix it up, starting with the Hall of Fame. I think it starts there. And I know people go, it's separate from everything else. John Miller needs to have a vote in the Hall of Fame. When Vin Scully was alive, Vin Scully, these are ambassadors of baseball.
Guys who watch the game every single day.
And you're telling me, this is what I always say, they're paid by the Giants. You're telling me John Miller. And just take a step back, everyone. Yeah. John Miller can't tell you who's a Hall of Famer and who's not.
Right.
Of course, we all have our biases.
Right.
You think the writer in Pittsburgh isn't going to cape up for a guy that he covered who was nice for him for 15 years?
Exactly.
Of course they are. So to think that John Miller and I'm just using examples, Ken Korak doesn't have a feel on who's a Hall of Famer and who's not. Come on.
You could be a writer on the West Coast. There's no way in heck you're watching every single Tampa Bay Ray game. There's no way. There's no way you're watching every single Miami Marlin game. Or Nationals game, or Orioles game. You know what I'm saying? So it's too regional in that aspect where the writers are covering their beat every single day. That's tough enough. They don't watch another 9 innings or other ball. They're watching highlights.
So that was my big problem. So Mike Wilbon, for example, is a Chicago Cub fan. And I'm not knocking him. I'm using him as an example. We all think Mike Wilbon knows sports.
He does.
Who watched more Barry Bonds at-bats, me or Mike Wilbon?
Yeah, probably you.
It's not even close.
It's not even close. And you can't lie about it because the television packages wasn't what it was
That's
today.
Exactly that.
So don't lie to us saying that I watched every single at-bat from, Cooperstown, New York. No, you didn't. Like you're lying. Nobody... Satellite wasn't offered like that.
So, one of the things I cape up, I'll tell you the straight up truth. I thought Todd Helton, while playing the Giants every year for as many times, I'm watching a Hall of Famer. I think he's the greatest Rocky of all time. I think he deserves to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm a Giants fan. I can clearly see this dude's one of the all-time
This dude's a
greats.
baller.
Right now, let's say you're covering the AL Central. How many times did you really watch Todd Helton?
Yeah.
And you've got a better feel than John Miller?
Right.
You've got a better feel than play-by-play guy for the Padres?
Right.
You know, for example. So
Right.
this is what I would say is I think that we need to include more baseball ambassadors talking about the game, having influence on the game, and less of the writers. That's my biggest problem right now.
Yeah, no, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And some writers pick and choose whether or not they want to vote for the Hall of Fame. That's the other thing. Some of the writers will just leave a ballot blank just to prove a message, just to prove a point, which is stupid. It's like all you're proving is you're an idiot and you wasted a vote. Rob Parker, when he joined us, what was that, like 6 months ago? Where he said, I think it's a privilege. I'm one of only 450 people that has a Major League Baseball Hall of Fame vote. I worked my whole life for this. This is a privilege to vote on the Hall of Fame. And some writers just say, you know what? I didn't get to it this year.
If you do that, that should be like an immediate, like you're kicked off the voting registry. Like if you're not going to use your vote, then like fine, then you don't get your vote. You're done.
Give it away. Give it away.
Look, was Bonds superhuman when he played? Of course he was. No one's denying. I'm not sitting here saying that he didn't do. Of course he did steroids. But the reality is everybody did steroids.
Right.
There's a guy on air across the street who got popped for steroids. Okay? There's a guy on air right now who got popped for steroids, and nobody cares because the entire era did. Andy Pettit is glorified and in the record books for how many different playoff victories, and he did it.
And the kicker is steroids doesn't make you a great player. Armando Rios took steroids and was getting sent back to the minors.
Bobby Estalella.
Right? Bobby Estalella couldn't hit anything.
You know?
It was popping roids. Doesn't mean anything. You still got a C-ball, hit ball.
Well, and here's the other part of this that no one wants to acknowledge. Had the home run chase not been so incredible, baseball would have been irrelevant even more so
dead.
20 years ago.
It would have been dead.
You are the same age as me.
Yep.
Do you remember when we came back from the strike? My buddy Mikey C
checked out.
hated baseball for years because of the strike.
Shasky, I didn't come back around to baseball until the 97 year.
That almost everyone did. So that goes back to my social point.
So the 95 Giants and the 96 Giants, I couldn't tell you anything other than they sucked.
Well, Deion
That's
Sanders,
it.
95.
Yeah, but he got traded though.
I know.
You know.
But you're 100% right, and that's why when I hear people talk about Sammy Sosa, was he a complete baseball player? No.
Right.
But when we talk about impact on the game of baseball, all right, over the last 40 years,
5 tool players.
you know, look, man. There's a lot of guys that I love who I think should be in the Hall. I love Eddie Murray's a good guy. I'll just throw him out there. One of the greatest. How many people know who Eddie Murray is?
Not a lot.
Switch hitting 500 home run guy.
Not a lot.
Won a championship with the Orioles. Was a Dodger. Was a freaking
Switch hitter, played on many teams.
If I say this, and he overlapped with this guy. If I say Sammy Sosa to so many people, they smile.
Right.
They're like, wow, I remember what he did for baseball. I remember him running out with the little tiny American flag. And again, I'm not even trying. Eddie Murray was 5 times the player Sammy Sosa was. But you have to recognize the impact on the game overall. All right? And that's the part that really bugs me is people, they want to take things out on him and they want to punish him. And it happened. All right? Let it go. They should all be included into the Hall of Fame for their impact on the game. Do I think Mark McGwire is one of the all-time great first basemen? No. But what he did to save baseball, the product doesn't look like what it looks like today without Mark McGwire. The money isn't what it is today without someone like Mark McGwire.
The guy who allowed it is in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Oh, well, that's the biggest
joke
joke
And that's Bud
ever.
Selig.
Yeah,
so,
I hate that guy.
You know, and I think there's a lot of people. Who's the commissioner? We had Faye Vincent. Basically had some kind words to say about Bud Selig. Remember that?
Aponte, the guy who served the longest suspension in baseball history for steroids, Alex
Rodriguez. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
He's the face of baseball on not one, but 2 different channels.
Unreal.
I mean, again, it's just these people, baseball, this is my big, they can't get out of their own way.
No, they can't. And
It
they won't.
drives me
And they
nuts.
won't. And that's why I'm glad I was sleep early and not on social media. Not on social media. By the way, Warriors.
And congratulations to Aaron Judge.
Yeah, congratulations
Honestly,
to Aaron Judge.
I like Aaron Judge, and I'm rooting for him.
I swear I thought we were going to go.
He's got the American League record, and I wanted to be a
I
Giant.
thought we were going to go down to celebrate Aaron Judge. I was like, oh, man, no.
It was like an indictment on Bonds, and I'm not letting people bang on my dude.
Aaron Judge, congrats to him. Talk about one of the greatest contract years of all time. Aaron Judge possibly is having the greatest contract year of all time. 61 homers. He's in line for the Triple Crown. I want to see him do it. Triple Crown carrying that Yankees team.
I'm with you.
Pretty sweet there. So let's transition. We'll talk more Aaron Judge a little bit.
Thanks
Warriors
for
are
looking it up.
Warriors are practicing in Japan. They practiced about 6 hours ago. Andre Iguodala with a nice little soundbite saying, telling Dikembe Mutombo, hey, Jonathan Kuminga is really, really, really good. Well, we want to see that this year on the floor as well. But we'll get into the 49ers next, and that's coming up. Brought to you by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises.
Mr. Kirk with BetQL. The Houston Texans might not be the best team in the NFL, but this year, they've been a sure bet against the spread. This is true not only about the game line, but also in the first half. They are 3-0 against the spread in the first half so far this year, and this is after covering the first half spread 10 times last year. So going forward, look for the Texans to cover the number early, and you'll cash that check even when Houston fades late. I'm Trista Crick, helping you see the roots.
If you have a small business, Staples has your sign.
Banners for my bakery?
Staples has your sign.
Oh, posters for my new pet store.
Floor decals for a pharmacy.
Every day, Staples associates help every kind of small business create bold signs to make big impressions. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. This is your sign, so print it big at Staples. Ends 10/1. Visit staplesconnect.com/thisisyoursign for details.
The Chaps are back, baby. It's Bonte Hill from the Morning Roast, and set your alarms for 3 a.m. this Friday when the Warriors open up the preseason in Tokyo, Japan, against the Washington Wizards. The Chaps are back. Curry, Trey, Clay, the Young Gunners, all that much more. Don't forget to listen to it right here on your home for Golden State Warriors basketball, 95.7 The Game.
Oh, it's doing great. I've been on it now for about 3.5 years. I've lost 67 pounds, and I feel better than I did at age 40. The only thing I'm just getting older. That's the only thing it doesn't stop. Other than that, I feel good.
Listen, we're all getting older, but that doesn't mean you have to feel your age. Are you ready to turn back the clock? It's 2022, and there's never been a better time to start looking and feeling young again. Introducing Andro400.com. Andro400.com has proven solutions to melt belly fat, increase mood and memory, increase energy, and bring that spark back to your love life. Visit Andro400.com or call 888-400-0435 to see which product is right for you. Try the safe and natural way to start feeling and looking your best. And there's nothing to lose with an industry-leading 90-day money-back guarantee. Visit Andro400.com or call 888-400-0435.
Odyssey celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month and this year's theme, Unidos, ensuring diverse voices and perspectives are welcome to build stronger communities. More on the Odyssey app and celebrate the sounds and stories of Hispanic heritage at odyssey.com/HHM.
Hi, this is George with Left Coast Buyers. We buy properties all over California. If you own a house or an apartment building and want to sell it fast at a great price, call us at 925-434-5000. We can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. We buy properties in any condition, any price range, and can help you in any situation. Do you own a property that is run down and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Are you out of time, money, and energy? Let us help. Are you looking for an easy way to get top dollar for your property and sell on your terms and timeline? Well, call Left Coast Buyers now at 925-434-5000. We can solve any problem. We buy divorce houses, inherited houses. We even buy vacant houses and abandoned houses. Do you have a tenant who hasn't paid rent? Are you behind on property taxes, mortgage payments, or even facing a foreclosure? Even if you're just nervous about capital gains or an upcoming recession, we've seen it all. So if you or someone you know owns a property and needs to sell, call Left Coast Buyers at 925-434-5000. That's 925-434-5000.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Join the conversation on 95.7 The Game with the Xfinity mobile text line. Text 888-957-9570.
From the 510, Ray looks great in teal. I think we can all agree. From the 650,
Stop.
don't do this. Ray Ratto makes me hate sports and life. Love you guys, though. so that's nice.
Text the text line at 888-957-9570. Xfinity Mobile. Your wireless, your rules.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code GOLF. Use code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hockey season is here, and 95.7 The Game has your shot at tickets to check out the San Jose Sharks in their home opener against Carolina on October 14th. Listen to Willard and Dibbs around 10:30 for your chance to win.
Now, back to the morning roast with Bonte and Shasky.
This is something that happened last night that I thought that's where you were going, Shasky, this morning. Coolio passed away at the age of 59, and that's what he won 6 Grammys for. Remember this? Gangsta's Paradise? I mean, I can't think of Coolio without the braids and little twigs coming out the head, but he was one of those guys. How would you describe him as? Like, he wasn't the greatest rapper.
No.
But we knew who he was, and he was just like, you saw Coolio and you smiled.
This is what I would say about Coolio. He turned rap into a mainstream sellable item for not just MTV, but I think the masses. Mm-hmm. You don't get Snoop Dogg in 2022 selling you Coronas without Fantastic
Coolio.
Voyage.
Yeah.
And that which is the first CD single, rap single I ever bought. The first one was Soul for Real, Candy Rain.
Candy Rain.
Remember that song? And then the second one that I got them both on the same day, was Fantastic Voyage CD single with Coolio. And I remember me and my cousin Mike played it over and over. One of the great videos of all time, Fantastic Voyage.
Great video.
And most people are going to do Gangsta's Paradise, and that's a classic.
But Fantastic Voyage is one of those songs that played at every single barbecue. And people just would move.
Exactly.
And they would just be moving to the beat. So
it's just sad, man, because he's somebody that, like, do I think he's one of the top 30 rap? No, but in terms of influence on society
no doubt.
and like the generational steps forward of the evolution of rap and how it's now mainstream, like they're now the rock stars.
And he became a celebrity, right? The
100%.
cooking shows, reality TV, all that stuff,
Rock and
commercials.
Jock.
What about Keenan? Somebody posted on Twitter last night the Keenan and Kel intro.
That my
with
brother.
Coolio.
My brother first thing he said.
Dude, it brought me back so hard, and I was like, damn, Coolio, because Keenan and Kel was our show.
I know.
I didn't have Nickelodeon growing up, and I would always hear about Keenan and Kel. So whenever I went to somebody's house and Keenan and Kel was on, I'm like, oh, I got to watch it. And then you see the intro with Coolio. I'm like, Coolio was drinking in checks.
I know. I know. It's just really sad, man. When I heard that one, I was like, damn, that's weak.
Yeah, and then also made me feel a lot older.
Well, that's
I was like, damn.
Of course.
Damn. Like Coolio, 59, he's a little young, but man, we want to pay our respects to him.
And that was the age of just the explosion of music in terms of West Coast music making it onto MTV. And I think he was one of the seminal guys.
You had NWA, you had Snoop, everybody,
Ice Cube.
Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube when he broke apart from NWA. You had Yo-Yo down there. You had everybody from the LA area. And then, of course, Coolio, who's from down there, the LA area, went to Compton Community College. So, yes, that Keenan and Kel theme is a banger. Is this it right here? This is a banger.
It's so good.
It's so good. Just think about how smooth that is. You used to be driving down the highway, windows down, wind blowing. Oh, that's smooth. Tell me that's West Coast rap in the 90s, too.
100%, dude.
You just bop your head to it. Oh, man, that was good.
Keenan and Kel.
Oh, that's hard.
I would turn
That's
the show
hard.
on just to hear the theme song when I was like 7 years old.
Right.
Like, it was resonating with me
It
back
makes you feel
then.
cool.
You got to understand, like early, like late '80s, early '90s rap. It was either East Coast, you would get certain East Coast rap that would be out there, but for the most part, and that was like more thoughtful and whatnot. For the most part, rap on the West Coast was very taboo.
Yeah.
Oh,
you had
gangster rap.
Well, you had DJ Quick coming along during that time, Sugar Free and stuff. And
yeah, but they were more underground.
They were more underground. But you know what helped them? What helped West Coast rap, and I think it helped all the rap, was BET, where they would have the long video block all day long, and they show all type of, whether it was Busta Rhymes, whether it was Ice Cube, you would see everything from everybody out there, which I think helped rap grow.
No doubt. But I think about like this crossing over, because like when you look into Hammer, early '90s Hammer, everybody liked Hammer, right? But it was more pop rap, right? Even though, hey, I'm telling you right now, go back and listen to some of them Hammer songs. They bang.
Oh, he's got bangers.
He got bangers, and he was a dancer.
You know what I noticed? So, did you see the Warriors post that picture with Sugar? I guess this guy Sugar, or it could be a girl, I'm not sure, but Sugar was holding the Warriors jersey up. She's one of those bands, K-pop.
Okay,
and
I did
has
see it.
like 40
I
million
didn't know who she
followers.
was.
Yeah, I didn't know who she was. I didn't know what. But the one person they're following, they follow like 124 people. One of the 124 was MC Hammer.
Oh, I thought it was you.
No.
Oh, MC Hammer.
MC Hammer out of all people. Out of all people, and I'm like, damn, MC Hammer still resonates.
Of course.
With a lot of people. You're right, he did have bakers, and then he had Death Row Hammer. We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, no, we don't need to talk about that. But my point being is that I look at someone like
BTS.
Coolio, and he's absolutely one of the evolutionary steps into mainstreaming rap music and making it, just, I think, more acceptable by the masses.
Wow, he became a fireman, Coolio? That's according to San Jose Jazz Fan. Coolio became a fireman. I didn't
know that.
Credited the discipline with cleaning up his life.
I didn't know that.
Wow, I didn't know that either. Wow. Let's go to Steve in Santa Rosa. Wants to talk a little Barry Bonds and writers. He's listening on the radio. What's up, Steve? You're on the roast.
Hey, what's going on, man? Just real quickly, I can't believe you didn't mention my boy Bushwick Bill. Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
Ghetto boys.
Good call.
Ghetto boys is hard. Yeah,
My mind's playing tricks on me.
And then they got the cover where you get shot in the eye and they're going to the hospital. Yeah,
that's so
that's
good.
a great cover.
Good call.
My big beef here, you guys said it right, that more people outside the writers need to step into this argument about the Hall of Fame. It's ridiculous. We had the best hitter of all time right here, Barry Bonds. And if you played ball, I don't know nothing about basketball, but I know that every sport, there's an inside mental part of the game. That's the difference between the really good and the greats. Look at, you got like Joe Montana, didn't have all the physical tools, but he had that something where he could get out of trouble and find the big play. Every sport has, the great ones have that ability. Barry Bonds comes into a game, he gets one decent pitch a game for like the last 6 years he played and hits it out. But you got these idiot writers. And, that movie, The Natural, I'm glad they put that little scene in where he talks to the guy in the alley and he goes, hey, did you ever play the game? No, I didn't. And there you go.
Well,
they don't know. They're writing about what they're seeing on the field. In this argument that I have a friend that's a sports writer, I've gone round and round with him. He goes, but it's not natural. I go, okay, then no more weightlifting. No more off-season training.
Exactly. There
Because
you go.
that's not natural.
Yeah.
They are enhancing their natural ability.
That's a
If
good
that's
point.
what your argument is, then you can't train in the off-season. You can't lift weights. You can't take supplements, even the legal ones. So, it's 2022. Let's get real.
I know.
No, I'm with you, Steve. Great call.
Great call, Steve.
Great call.
Well,
and I feel your pain, Shasky, on this, man. And look, Barry Bonds is all our guys. Once they didn't vote him into the Hall of Fame the last round, and now he has to go through the Veterans Committee, I just gave up on it. I said, you know what? Barry Bonds doesn't feel hurt by it, but he shows that he doesn't feel hurt by it. I think deep down inside, Barry's like, screw this game. I gave my soul, my sweat, my entire life to this game of baseball, and I watched David Ortiz get in. David Ortiz.
Yeah.
And I watch all these other guys get big-time votes like Pudge Rodriguez, and I'm not in the Hall of Fame. If I'm Gary Sheffield, who's done television, and Sheffield's like, I was a 4-5 hitter for the Yankees, for the Braves,
The champion
for the
Marlins.
Dodgers, for the Marlins, for the Padres.
The Brewers.
I stole bases, and I'm not even getting 20% of the vote anymore.
He played all 8 positions.
I mean, it's a joke.
I mean, look, I'm
Until
100%
baseball
with you.
celebrates
So-
its best guys, why should I care, Shasky?
This wasn't in like our thought for today, but
Yeah.
he brings up an interesting point. Mark Spears told us when we were talking, like, how'd you get into basketball? And he had said that he was covering baseball, and he was in a baseball media room or whatever, and what is it called? The press box.
Yep.
And he's sitting there, and he's sitting with a bunch of baseball writers, and out of nowhere, he had this epiphany, and he's like, I played basketball.
Yeah.
Why am I not covering basketball? Now, I think this is an interesting question. I do not think you need to play a sport at a high level to have a fundamental understanding of said sport.
We didn't.
But I do believe you have to have some fundamental knowledge.
Right.
Some fundamental knowledge that's rooted in something about said sport. For example, Anthony Slater. Anthony Slater did not play college basketball, okay?
Nope.
But when I read his columns, I'm looking at somebody and go, he clearly has a very fundamental grasp of not just the X's and O's of basketball, but the feel of the league and the feel of the players in the game. Exactly.
And he still tries to continue to educate himself by asking the questions to help further his knowledge. So, like, players read his stuff and be like, oh, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and like Joe Poznansky is a baseball writer who I believe is a student of the game. Tim Kirkshin, who's also actually a pretty good player.
Just look at our backyard, John Shea.
The student, by the way, he can also play. I played with him. He can play.
The Shea Hay kid.
Yeah,
I mean, his baseball
he
column
clearly
in the
is a
Chronicle.
student of the game and knows the game inside and out. The question that I always have with these Hall of Fame votes, there's too many that aren't like John Shea, that are students of the game who live, eat, and breathe it, who truly understand the fundamentals of the game and can be able to impart that wisdom on the people that they're writing for. And I think that's the big disconnect. And I don't know what the solution is, but I think in baseball, it feels like to me, because it's such a nuanced game, it's probably the hardest to cover.
Right. And not only is it the hardest to cover, it's the hardest to crack.
Yeah.
It's the hardest to crack.
That's a good point.
A lot of writers can't crack it. And then, you know, when you think about these people that you're talking about, the Verducci's, the Heymans, they're not always very welcoming to a new person on the beat. Howard Bryant talks about it all the time, where Pedro Gomez, rest in peace, when Howard Bryant was covering the Oakland A's and Tony La Russa would read the paper and be like, who the hell is this writer? I want to rip his head off. And Pedro would be there to check him, to make sure the youngsters like a Howard Bryant, who's obviously a black guy, hey, you belong here. We're going to have your back. We're going to make you feel comfortable. A lot of baseball writers don't make you feel comfortable in that press box.
Well, there's another element of this which we cannot ignore. You look at football and basketball, look at who's covering the games.
Right.
And look at the representation of the players.
Right.
They're primarily black leagues, right? And then you've got a good amount. I don't think it's enough, but
you have a lot of diversity, though.
And then I look at baseball, and I look at who's playing the game and how many, South American players or playing Latin American players are playing in the game. Is that who's writing and covering the game?
Right.
I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, it's
So I find
tilted.
it interesting.
Yeah, no,
I think it's a little out of whack.
Yeah, it is out of whack. Big time. All right, we got to go to break here. Lutman's getting on me. We're going to get into more. Well, you know what? We'll transition to the 49ers here. Big game. It's Beat LA week. And we haven't really touched on the Rams. We got to revisit some things, Shasky, when it comes to the Rams and the 49ers.
I'm ready.
That's coming up. Sponsored by Fremont Bank. Full service banking, no compromises.
Check out Kickoff with Boomer Esiason and Mike Valenti every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New Gigabit Extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds and after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity Gateway.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
We're all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. September is World Ozone Month, so it's a great month to get rid of all your aerosol sprays and replace them with eco-friendly options. Also, check your air conditioner to make sure it doesn't have any leaks and schedule any necessary repairs or maintenance. And lastly, use your car less by walking or biking to close destinations. The ozone layer will thank you. Join Odyssey, and together each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Breaking news on 95.7 The Game is brought to you by Beat the Street. For tips to win a $5.6 million prize. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh my God! Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby.
Garoppolo under pressure. Donald got there in the air, intercepted by the Rams, and they may ride to the Super Bowl on that.
Now, back to the morning roast with Bonte and Shasky.
That's how we're coming back, Spadoni, huh? That's what we're doing. NFC Championship game. We know how it ended. We know how it ended. Down in L.A., SoFi Stadium, Garoppolo throwing a pick, and the Rams escape and win 20-17. They were down 17-7 in that one. And yes, they come back and win the Super Bowl. So now the Niners are hosting the NFL Super Bowl champions on Monday Night Football, a rivalry renewed. And this is something you've been on, Shasky. We argued back and forth. Seattle's still the rival. No, it's the Rams. No, it's Seattle. Well, I think when you play in the NFC Championship game, or if you play in a playoff game, it takes that rivalry to another level.
Yeah, it's forged in fire of playoff times.
No doubt. Well said. Niners won 6 in a row. They go to that NFC Championship game. They're up 17-7 going into the fourth quarter.
Why are you doing this to me?
Rams outscore them 13-0. Again, they win the Super Bowl. Now they're coming to Levi Stadium, and you don't think the Rams are motivated for this one to say, we can really put the Niners behind an 8-ball at 1-3.
What are the two hardest Super Bowls for you to watch the last couple of years? Or the last 20 years, let's say. I have a ranking.
So last 20 years. So the Giants-Patriots Super Bowl was hard back in 2011, 2012, 2011.
Yeah, really hard.
Really hard. Broncos-Seahawks was really hard to watch.
Especially after that first drive.
Right.
Thank you, Peyton, for snapping the ball over your head.
You're right. Or
I've
the
never
center.
been a bigger Bronco fan in my life.
Yeah, MetLife Stadium. I mean, they didn't even have a shot. The image of Adam Gase and Peyton Manning on the bench, like, what do we do? What do we do? Other than get blown out 43-8. That was hard. And then you had last year. Yeah,
right. So you're like me.
Giants, Bills.
I was so
that was
depressed.
hard.
I was so depressed last
All
year.
the Cowboys Super Bowls, very hard.
Yeah, but not like that one.
Not like that one.
And the other one that I'd throw into the mix would be the Aaron Rodgers one, because I was so mad because we all knew that he should have been the pick instead of Alex Smith.
Oh, when they beat Pittsburgh.
Yes, and I was mad watching that one. So mad.
Gosh.
And the offensive coordinator who was on that horrible Nolan staff got to leave the team after 1 year after he helped pick Alex Smith, and then ended up coaching the guy that we all wanted.
I know, Mike McCarthy. Unbelievable. By the way, Jason Aponte, he's going to join us at 8 o'clock. We love Jason Aponte, Sprint Right option, Sprint Right pod. Jason Aponte, 8 o'clock. He's going to join us via Zoom.
Oh, cool.
Join us via Zoom. So we'll do that. We have King of the Hill coming up in 10 minutes. King of the Hill. Where's my rankings? Last week I had Tampa number 1, Philly number 2, and I had the Niners at 3.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you one thing, the Niners won't be at 3 this week.
Yeah, and I look back at the late 80s and the 49ers going up against the Rams. For me, for my age group, like that was it. Like that was the divisional rival. That was the team that you would go up against. You obviously played them in an NFC Championship game years back. But even if you go back even farther, a lot of the older people, I've said this since I blew in the face. The Niners would not be in the NFL, because they were in the AFL at the time, had they not been the geographical rival for the Rams. So I feel like these two organizations have been linked. And when they moved to St. Louis, it took a lot of sting out of the rivalry.
No doubt. It did.
But there was something about Ram Week. And when you'd hear Ronnie Lott get everybody fired up for Ram Week, there's something about it. Now with McVay, and you've got Stafford, who the Niners were linked to.
It's back.
Cooper Kupp.
It's back.
Aaron Donald and Debo Samuel not liking each other.
Jalen Ramsey. Debo tries to truck. He tries to run through Jalen Ramsey. There's something going on there, too.
There's a lot of narratives that you can pluck from, and I find it interesting. Also,
Did you bring up Bobby Wagner?
No, Bobby Wagner. Look, people can dismiss Bobby Wagner. I want to look at just his career numbers versus the Niners. I swear he averages a turnover a game.
Yeah,
I bet it's more than that.
He dominates the
Niners. And he owns Jimmy G.
Yeah.
How many times has he dropped back in coverage and just picked the ball off from him, just standing in the middle of the field? The other thing that I was going to throw out there, B, is the contrast in styles between the two organizations. Yep. They're hyper aggressive. We don't care about the draft.
Right.
We are going to get proven commodities. The Niners are a little more, not conservative, but we're going to build this thing through the draft, and we're going to try to, philosophically build our team in a different way.
So that's something I want to go to, and I want to go in that direction, the aggressiveness. And we're going to do that as I say good morning to everybody getting off the graveyard shifts. I realize I didn't do that today. If you're at work, what is happening? Good morning to you on the roadways. The aggressiveness. Mm-hmm. We look at this Niners schedule, and I'm looking at it like this. Beat the Rams, you're 2-2. It's not going to be easy at all. It's not going to be an easy game. But you get to 2-2. You can go on a road for Carolina, Atlanta. Just give me a split. Get me a split and be 3-3 by the time you play the Kansas City Chiefs. When you go into the bye week, I would love to see the Niners at 4-4. Now, the bye week happens a couple days before the NFL trading deadline. And Lubman looked this up yesterday. Last year at the deadline, or around the deadline, there were 10 different trades. The NFL was very, very active. Guys are getting cut. Guys are getting traded. Remember, Von Miller gets traded from Denver to the Rams. Odell Beckham Jr. is getting cut.
People laughed at the Von Miller acquisition. If you go back to that fourth quarter, you can't tell me that he didn't have an impact on that game.
Dominated the football game.
Yeah.
Dominated the football game. Then had a good Super Bowl. There was a lot of movement. And the NFL, excuse me, the NFL has been moving towards being more active towards the deadline and being more active in season. We're seeing all kind of trades, right? Let's just see where the 49ers are during the bye week, and let's see who's going to be available, because I think with this defense, you cannot waste it, Shasky. You cannot waste this defense. Now, are they great yet? No, they're not causing the turnovers. They're not forcing the turnovers. They're not falling on the football when there's a fumble out there like they did on Sunday night. That's what makes the defense great, right? Creating turnovers, scoring. but what can you do to help this offense? What players are going to be available at the deadline? Because when I look at the Niners, they're going to have their second-round pick next year. 2024, they're going to have their full complement of picks. 2025, they're going to have their full complement of picks. At some point, you can just got to say, damn it, we got to go get a guy. They can't draft a guy. They can't draft a running back, so go get one.
Well, and B, if you're a win-now team, why wouldn't you want to acquire something to help you win now?
Right.
Which is kind of like what everyone says. Remember in 2019, they were really depleted at wide receiver.
They make the trade for Emmanuel Sanders.
Exactly. And I think we all agree that was a really good trade.
Very good trade.
And, like, even though it cost you, whatever, a third or a fourth round pick, I think, at the time, nobody even cares. Nobody even cares because it was one of those moves that helped get you over the top. Now, he had the rib injury. God, it would have been nice if he would have been healthy the entire time. But even then, everybody goes back to Jimmy missed Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah, they traded for him mid-season.
Yep.
Remember, he didn't have a bye that year.
He didn't have
Remember
a bye. He had the rib injury. Yeah, he had to play every single week, and he made an impact right away.
I would love to see them make some sort of a move on offense. No one's giving up linemen in the NFL right now.
No.
That's just not a trade that usually happens. It's usually skill position guys.
This line's just going to have to get better.
Yes.
Aaron Banks, Burford, Brindle, McGlinchey, whoever the hell plays left tackle, they're just going to have to get better.
But can we agree? Playmaker is a number one thing. So whether that's running back, wide receiver, whatever's available, I think you have to scour the market for it.
So
I mean, dare I say, maybe backup quarterback just as an insurance policy for Jimmy? Am I out of line saying that?
You don't think Brock Purdy's an insurance policy? Listen,
I'm not trying to be like crazy here, but like we're gonna. So Trey's not ready, but all of a sudden Brock Purdy is?
Yeah, I know it. How laughable is it?
I mean,
how laughable is
this? The system is so complicated, and it takes a full year for you to understand it. But this guy in like 5 weeks is going to be able to figure it out.
Here's my deal: like, if
I
there's
have a
a
tough
running
time
back,
believing that.
Save Kareem. I don't think Kareem Hunt's going to be on the block. I think Cleveland's keeping Kareem Hunt. Stevenson in New England. You got Pollard. You got all these running backs. Tony Pollard, I don't think is getting traded from the Dallas Cowboys. He's a big part of what they do, being in the slot or whatnot. But if there is somebody available, I don't know if it's Saquon. I don't know who's going to be available at the deadline. Here's my philosophy on this, Shasky. If you can't draft a running back in the third round, if you keep failing to draft the right running back in the third round, then maybe go trade for an established one. You know?
Belichick did that a lot at wide receiver. He wasn't good at drafting wide receivers. Remember Dexter Jackson?
Oh, yeah.
But what he would do was, once you're in the league, he'd find film on you, and he'd go, now I know that you can do X, Y, and Z. Let me get Wes Welker.
Right.
Let me get Julian Edelman.
Let me get Randy Moss.
Right? So he had a really tough time drafting his own wide receivers.
Randy, why are you shaking your head, Spinoni? Randy Moss.
One of the great fleecings of all time.
For a fourth-round pick. We traded Randy Moss.
Well, you know what was worse?
For a fourth-round pick.
Giving up a first-rounder for Richard Seymour.
Oh, boy, that was rough.
Or Devontae Adams, am I right? Oh, too soon?
Right. I'll take Devontae
I'll take Devontae right now.
Right now. But,
can I interest you in a Jimmy G?
But you hear me, though? Like, if you can't draft a running back in the third round,
I'm with you.
Go trade for one that's established, and, the hard part is done. You don't have to develop somebody. They're already developed.
Well, for as bad as the San Francisco Giants were at developing outfield, there's the one thing they were good at was trading for him or signing him.
Right. Reggie Sanders, Hellingsburg,
trading for Hunter Pence.
Right. No doubt. Now, with that said, I do think this offseason we overrated the skill positions of the 49ers.
Who?
I think we all just overrated the entire offense, like in terms of like how many playmakers they had. We knew they had Deebo Samuel, who's a playmaker. But now when you see him play running back a lot and he's on the line of scrimmage, and then George Kittle, he's a shell. Like, George Kittle doesn't look healthy. He didn't look healthy Sunday. Granted, it's his first game. He played 51 of 56 snaps. That's a good thing. But, like, when I see Kittle, Deebo, and just Ayuk, and if you have Deebo in the backfield and Ayuk's getting double-teamed, I'm like, damn. Like, Jawan Jennings is running routes, and Danny Gray's running routes, knowing damn well Jimmy Garoppolo can't get him the football. They need more playmakers. Like, that's why when you were saying earlier in the season, Odell Beckham Jr.,
I'm screaming.
I'm like, you know what? They need more playmakers.
Well, they need a backup tight end who can.
Exactly.
They need
backup tight end. They need another wide receiver. They need a running back.
Here's the problem, though, with the offense, and this goes back to we were talking about the running game, right? If the running game is going to be so pivotal to everything that you do, you're going to limit the amount of possessions. That's also going to limit the amount of dropbacks you have, right? And so the opportunities to throw to those wide receivers. The one thing that I'll give the Rams, they've got Van Jefferson and Cooper Kupp and all these weapons, and they throw to all of them.
Allen Robinson.
I mean, They're throwing 35 times a game, right? Like the Niners don't want to throw 35 times a game. So that's why, like, as much as I want Odell and a wide receiver or a backup tight end, I think their money would actually be best spent on a running back, considering that they want to get to that magical 35 runs a game number.
But doesn't it feel like late game situations when it's time to throw a football game?
You can never have enough receivers.
This team just doesn't seem to be able to throw a
Odell
forward pass.
destroyed you in that NFC Championship.
Destroyed them.
And was killing it in the Super Bowl before he got hurt.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Cooper Kupp killed you. The tight ends killed you.
You want to look at my matchups as we get a little way too early matchup. Bringing in Ward, does he just follow Cooper Kupp around?
You know, I like Mosley on him too, though.
Okay.
Mosley has set the tone against him. You probably watch our various war, but they move around Cooper Kupp so well. Whether it's a jet sweep motion. Yeah. I think they're so... I would love to see Ward on him, but I think you have to give Cooper Kupp different looks.
Okay.
Keep him honest. So I have no problem with Emmanuel Mosley, who I think is maybe the most underrated cornerback in all of football. I have no problem with him sticking on Cooper Kupp. Now, Allen Robinson's another beast. This is another guy he's starting to come off for the Rams.
Yeah.
He's starting to come on. He's a big, long target. A lot of Niner fans wanted him for years. For years.
So long.
The Rams kind of like the Seahawks just start snatching things from the Niners and Niner fans. So this is going to be a tough matchup. But I
think this is a really hard game.
This is going to be a nice challenge for this defense. A very nice challenge. Now, the defensive line in Stafford, I think this defensive line can overwhelm Matt Stafford.
Well, their offensive line stinks. That's the one vulnerable part of it. But so does yours, and I worry about Aaron Donald. So I think this is going to be another ugly trenches game. I really do, B. I think it's going to be another ugly trench-dominated game.
No doubt. I want to get into the defense here at the top of the hour as you are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, and download the Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game for the best and most up-to-date sports coverage. And do not forget that you can also watch us every single day on our YouTube and Twitch streams. Just log on and search 95.7 The Game. Rams and Niners, Monday Night Football, 5:15 kickoff at Levi Stadium. Get there early. Second home game of the season against the team that ended your 2021 season in the NFC Championship. The champs are coming back. They're coming off a win against the Arizona Cardinals. But you know what time it is, Shasky? It's time for a little kick of the hill. Sorry about that. You could edit that. My bad.
Gather round, all you fanatics of sports.
I was laughing. I had a skittle coming down my throat.
It's time for Lord Aponte of House Hill to decree the finest 8 football teams in all the NFC. For this is King of the Hill.
Martha, you are nobody, my dude.
On 95.7 The Game.
Another week, another ranking, Shasky. Where will the Niners land? Where will the Niners land? It's your weekly edition of King of the Hill. Everybody loves it. Everybody wants it. So here we go with number 7, Spinoni. Number 7. Number 7. The San Francisco 49ers.
Oh.
Hanging out by a thread. Now, if the season ended today, they wouldn't be in the playoffs. The Bears, the Giants, they'd be leapfrogged ahead of the 49ers. But at 1-2, they still have one of the top defenses in the NFL. They're close to being 2-1. They're close to being 3-0. Heck, but their record is appropriate. They're 1-2, and they desperately need a win against the Super Bowl champs. I still got them at 7th because of that defense. Any rebuttal there, Sasky?
No, I like them at 7 because I think right now they're a fringe playoff team.
Yeah, right
They've
now.
got to win some games for them to move up in the rankings. I think this is fair.
All right, number 6. Number 6.
The LA
Rams. The champs, they were 6 last week. Niners were 3 last week. They fall to 7. Rams, they were 6 last week. I'm going to just keep them right there. That wasn't an impressive victory against Arizona. In Arizona, tell me Kingsbury is not getting fired this year.
Well, he just got extension.
Oh, boy. He's going to be our Hard Knocks, too.
Oh, my goodness.
Dude, they are a mess.
I think if I were to power rank homes of head coaches in the NFL, I would say that McVay has the best home and he has the second best home.
Yeah, well, he may have to sell that home soon.
Well,
we'll see what happens.
Scottsdale,
but the Rams,
very underrated.
The Rams, number 6, they're 2-1. And they want to improve to 3-1.
Can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Let's not declare them dead at any point this season, Bonte.
Well, I mean, they didn't win a game in November.
Let's get to Trey Lance. Number 5.
All right, number 5.
Joe DiMaggio, number 5. There we go.
I don't have 6 and 7s. I have 5 through 1.
Oh, okay.
The Minnesota Vikings.
Kirk Cousins?
Helping your boys stay alive in a survivor pool. They were down 14-0 to the upstart Detroit Lions. And Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, rose up from the dead.
What about Justin?
To rally. Justin Jefferson got shut down in that game, so we're not going to bring him up. They got another wide receiver in dreadlocks. I forget his name, but he was balling in that game, number 17. Listen, the Vikings and that horde rally against the fighting Dan Campbells and hold on for dear life 28-24. I got the Vikes at 5. If they just figure out how to be consistent. Watch out for Dalvin Cook's shoulder, too. He's got a shoulder issue for all you fantasy football players.
Thus concludes Viking talk here on the leader.
Number 4.
Number 4. Guru's going to like this one. Last week, they weren't in the top 7.
Who is it?
The Dallas Cowboys. Cooper Rush, CeeDee Lamb. They're using both running backs, and they got a big win. They play the Commanders this week. The Cowboys could be 3-1. So much for taking. So much for trading for Jimmy Garoppolo. Dak who? They have Cooper Rush, baby. The Cowboys, number 4. You know why?
And Micah Parsons is so sick.
He might be the best defensive player in football.
He's so sick.
We didn't bring him up this offseason. We're talking about TJ Watt. He's on the shelf. Nick Bosa, solid start to the season.
Number 11 on a defensive player looks pretty saucy.
Yeah, it looks pretty sick.
Yeah.
He's everywhere.
He's a beast.
In the middle, on the edge. It doesn't matter. Michael Parsons is balling. Cowboys, number 4. Next up.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Curry for 3.
This time it's Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks. No, I'm going to give him a mulligan. They lose last week, 14-12 to Green Bay. He had nobody to throw to.
A breakfast ball?
Yeah,
You don't even know what that is.
No, what is a breakfast ball?
It's when you start off a golf round and you top one or you shank a drive and it's the first hole of the first, the day. You go, it's a breakfast ball, so you get a second shot.
Oh, wow.
It's like a mulligan.
Ball.
Yeah,
Oh,
called
yeah.
a breakfast ball.
All right, breakfast ball. I learn something new every day about the game of golf.
If you're my brother Pat, you get multiple breakfast balls.
Yeah, well, you got to throw him under the bus. Man, Deli boy. Damn, catching
Or if you're
shade.
Lucas Alexander.
Oh, Lucas Alexander, that guy. The tortoise in the hair. That guy's the slowest player of all time.
Hey, Lucas looked good yesterday coming to the studio. Actually dressed up, man.
I know, I was very
Believe
surprised.
That? Yeah, very surprised. Look dapper. They had the ducks
Got
on.
the corporate look.
Yeah, he's
Just for that virtual meeting, am I right?
So
Virtual
who's
meeting.
getting a breakfast ball and what number are they?
I don't know. But Tampa Bay's number 3.
Oh, number
Tampa Bay's
3.
number 3. Number 3.
Oh.
They'll be all right. They'll bounce back. They have the Chiefs this week, which may be played at U.S. Bank Stadium in Minnesota in that dome.
And while
How
we're
about
here,
that?
let's pray for everybody in South
Absolutely.
Florida and Tampa
Absolutely.
Bay. This hurricane is very, very dangerous,
Yeah.
and apparently all of Tampa Bay is right there on the water.
Yeah,
and so
it sucks.
just everybody that's got family or whatever out there, that let's keep them in our thoughts.
No doubt about that. All right, let's move along here, Spadoni.
Number 2.
Number 2, the other Bay, Green Bay.
Oh.
Aaron Rodgers and company. That defense travels. That defense is real. It's a little different Packer team. They got some toughness to them.
Oh.
Some toughness.
We say
at
that every
defensive
year.
player. Well, maybe. We'll see. But they still have Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
They're working in these young wide receivers. Alan Lazard scored a touchdown last week. They have a running game. Dylan Jones. That's a nice little 1-2 combo. And Jair Alexander. That man's a stud. A stud.
I had an epiphany on Aaron Rodgers, and this is going way deep here. Ninja Turtles, the movie. Aaron Rodgers looks like Casey Jones. Like the way he shaved the whole side, and then he's got the ponytail.
Yeah.
Something's going on with that guy.
Yeah, something is going on with that guy. Who knows? But they're 2-1 right now,
crisis?
and they're number 2 in the King of the Hill rankings. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Fly.
What?
Eagles. Fly, baby.
What?
Fly. Fly, Eagles, fly. You're number 1 team in the NFC. They can do it all.
You're doing the
run the
bird.
ball. Jalen Hurts is looking good. He damn near
Mark
for
Willard's
300.
favorite quarterback.
Yeah, I know, because he runs up the middle all the time, right? Psych. He does it. He runs his own read. Listen.
In 97?
A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. They've got a defense. Fletcher Cox has been reborn
Yeah, he
in the
is.
middle of that defense.
Yeah.
They're flying around, hitting people. The Philadelphia Eagles take on the Jacksonville Jaguars this week, which is one of the top games in the league. One of the top 5 games on the slate this weekend in the NFL. So I got the fly, Eagles, fly, your top 7 teams in the NFL. Look at the graphic. Look at the flip. Wow, look at that. Great work on the
You look
production
like
team.
Notorious
Look at that.
B.I.G.
I do
right
look
there.
like a boss right there, right? With the crowd, right? I just need some chains. Oh, give me with the chains, baby. 7 is the Niners, 6 the Rams, 5 with the Vikings, 4 with the Cowboys, 3 Tampa, 2 Green Bay, and number 1. It's fly, Eagles, fly. I don't even know if the song goes like that, but fly, Eagles, fly. Number 1 team on the King of the Hill rankings.
Wow. And by the way, people need to know that's the NFC only.
NFC only.
All right.
NFC
there's
only.
7 teams that make the playoffs.
NFC only. If not, Buffalo would be in there. Miami would be in there. Kansas City would be in there. The Raiders would not be in there.
With the 7 spots right now, it feels like at maximum only 2 teams out of the NFC West would be getting in right now. And maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? Because last year we were told maybe 4 get in.
Yeah, Seattle's
maybe 3.
Geno Smith. I mean,
I'm ready to write them off.
Yeah, that defense is not good.
Yeah.
Arizona.
I'm telling you, I think that we're sleeping on them a little because I do think when DeAndre comes back,
they're going to get a jolt.
Yeah, and I think the Chandler Jones absence is hurting them. Something is off with them.
Something is off. Vince Joseph.
But they scare me.
They do. They are scary. You just don't know what you're going to get from them. You don't know what you're going to get from the Arizona Cardinals.
Own us.
They did. They did sweep the Niners last year. They swept the Niners last year.
You got to just be, remove emotion from it and be like, dude, Kyler plays us very well.
I mean, so what can the Niners do here? They can improve to 2-2. They go on the road and take on Carolina and Atlanta. Can you split there? It didn't beat the schedule. The beat of the schedule comes where you're playing Kansas City, you're playing the Chargers, you're playing Tampa, you're playing the Dolphins. You have the Saints and that strong defense. But the schedule is set up for the Niners to win at least 10 games this year. They got to get some playmakers. Jimmy has to play better. What can the Niners do? Should they be aggressive at the deadline? Do they owe it to this defense? Because I want to get into that, Shasky. How good is this defense? Are we looking at one of the best defenses in the last 30 years for the 49ers? You got numbers. I've got numbers. We've got players. We got it all here on the Morning Roast. And that'll be brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full service banking, no compromises.
The Chaps are back, baby. It's Aponte Hill from the Morning Roast, and set your alarms for 3 a.m. this Friday when the Warriors open up the preseason in Tokyo, Japan, against the Washington Wizards. The Chaps are back. Curry, Trey, Clay, the Young Gunners, all that much, much more. Don't forget to listen to it right here on your home for Golden State Warriors basketball, 95.7 The Game.
Kirby! It's your driveway mechanic, and they bring the shop to you. Brakes and tire replacements, oil changes, so much more. And here, I'm going to do this on Friday because today I'm very, very busy. They have added a Kirby eco-friendly wash. Barely uses any water, and it's going to make my car look brand new. I literally am going to just leave my car out front of the studio, and I'm going to have them come at 9:30, and we're going to bang this bad boy out. All biodegradable products that provide the ultimate shine and protection to both the exterior, and here's the key part, the interior of your car, all in the ease of your driveway. The ultimate convenience, easy booking, transparent pricing, on-time arrival, service in your driveway. No waiting rooms, no coordinating rides, direct access to your mechanic. Friendly, reliable service, no middlemen, no upsells. Get $50 off your first oil change with the code OIL50. That's OIL50. Check out Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com. Or call 1-866-KIRBY-1. And here you go. We're doing $200 gift card giveaways. Pay attention to the Morning Roast. We're giving them away, people. That's enough for an oil change and an eco-friendly wash, Kirby.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New gigabit extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
Have you ever hired a commercial painting company, then been stuck managing your own project? Hi, this is Matt Jesse, president of MB Jesse Painting. We know how busy you are and that you need professional painters who are actually professionals. My team has the experience, training, and credentials to get the job done. If you've been waiting for the right time to paint, this is it. Call 855-MB-JESSE today or visit us online at mbjesse.com.
MB Jesse.
UCSF Sports Medicine Center is dedicated to treating every type of athlete, from kids to adults, amateurs to elite professionals. As one of the best orthopedic programs in the nation, UCSF has programs to optimize an athlete's performance and the latest advancements to treat the most complex sports injuries. With locations throughout the Bay Area, now including Marin, Walnut Creek, and Redwood Shores, it's even easier to make an appointment today. Visit ucsfhealth.org so you can get cleared to play. UCSF Health, redefining possible.
Hey everybody, it's Boomer Esiason here. When a part of your offense isn't firing on all cylinders, it shows. And sometimes the only solution is to replace that part with something new. It's true on a championship team, and it's also true with cars. That's why I love eBay Motors. They have all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them, by the way. And that way you can get the parts that you need to make your car a winner. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
When Big Mobile charges you an arm and a leg, they're taking your money and your power. And your arm and leg. Boost Mobile gives your power back with an unlimited plan for $25 a month on one of America's largest 5G networks. We can't give you back your arm and your leg because we're not qualified surgeons. Unless you're an iguana who can grow limbs back. Switch to Boost and get an unlimited plan for $25 a month. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. New customers only. One line, $25 per month with autopay. Additional restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com for details.
Hockey season is here, and 95.7 The Game has your shot at tickets to check out the San Jose Sharks in their home opener against Carolina on October 14th. Listen to Willard and Dibbs around 10:30 for your chance to win.
This is Stephen Curry, and you're listening to The Morning Roast with Aponte and The Butcher on 95.7 The Game.
That was so smooth by Curry. I said the Aponte and the Butcher. That's legendary right there. You go home and just listen back to that and be like, yo, hey, Michelle, Steph Curry said, what up? You ever just play that for her?
No.
For your pops? Or
No.
he's probably listening. He knows.
No.
He's probably already recorded
Pops
it.
walked way too many people last night in softball. I'm very frustrated.
So
with
I
him.
want to get into this. We teased this at the top of the show. By the way, Jason Aponte, Niners Nation, Sprint Right Pod. He's going to join us at 8 o'clock via Zoom. We love it. What we try to do, too, is there's a lot of good people producing 49ers content. From the Brad Grahams to Splash Cousin Jordan Elliott. We had Posey on last week. We try to get those guys on the show. Those are our guys. The young up-and-comers, guys who cover from afar. They eat, sleep, and you know what, 49ers football. So Jason Aponte, he'll join us at 8 o'clock to break down what's went wrong for the 49ers in the first 3 games of the NFL season. But I want to get to the softball game because you seem, I would say, glum. You're pretty.
No, we just lost.
You're down.
We lost a very difficult game. We were up many times in this game after being down a little early, and we had like 9 errors in the final inning. Deli Boy, he knows. I love him. He made one of the greatest catches he's ever made in his life, diving catch, and then just missed a ball. Pops walking too many people. We basically lost on a walk-off. There's an obstruction at third base by our third baseman. It's just a nightmare, a whole nightmare.
Deli Boy, but I heard Deli Boy made a great play.
Oh, Deli Boy did make a great play. But, it's not about the great play you made. It's about the one you missed at the end.
Oh, boy. Oh boy.
No, he knows that he had a good game. But yeah,
actually,
we lost in a hard way. So I'm hurting today. My wrist is hurting today. I made a sliding play, and then I'm banged up. My heel hurts.
Deli Boy actually hit me up yesterday.
I need more Advil.
We're going back and forth on IG because we're talking about the Starburst energy drink.
Where did you see that?
Right across the street at Gambino's.
Oh, so it's a Starburst energy drink.
Yeah, and it tastes just like Starburst.
Oh, you bought it?
No, I did not buy it.
Oh.
But a lot of people told me it tastes just like Starburst.
Oh.
And they said, half a can will have you up all day.
Oh, so it's like Jolt from back in the day.
Yeah, I remember some good old Jolt. Jolt was cheap, too.
I want to get into the 49er defense and where it is. It's early in the season.
He hit me up about the song I posted with Andre Nicotina and Mac Dre. You know, Cadillac Girl.
Oh, yeah.
Ford, Chevys, whatever you got.
Yeah.
Push it, man. Don't be scared to squat.
No pickles, no onions, no playing.
Oh, that may be one of his best
Check it out,
verses.
no delaying.
Yeah. Hey, that may be one of his verses ever.
He's got a million of them. I told you, I know you disagree with this opinion, but had they gotten together in the 90s and they put together a comprehensive group of albums, I truly believe they would be a West Coast version of what Outkast is.
Mac Dre, Nicotina.
Absolutely.
You know what? The Cadillac. That song was
the
hot.
one Andre and Andre album knocks.
Yeah, it knocks hard. It does knock hard.
Knocks hard.
It does knock hard. I give you that because I listened to a lot of it yesterday.
It's one album.
Yeah, it's one album. Damn.
Knocks hard. So, look, the Niners defense right now, through 3 games, they feel elite. Now, I could totally understand people saying, A, it's 3 games in. B, you really haven't played a dynamic offense.
No.
All of those are true statements. But I also believe this to be a really good unit. Having watched them at practice, I thought it was the strength of the team. Having watched them through 3 games, is it the strength of the team? Mm-hmm. Okay. In the last, I'm just going to go the last like 20 years for the Niners because we can go back to the 80s and 90s, but the rules have changed so much and the league is so pass happy. It's hard to look at some of the scoring and passing numbers and correlate them to the modern game with the freedom of movement that you have.
Back in the day, you didn't have that 5-yard rule where you can't touch a receiver after 5 yards. You can mug a receiver. The way you hit receivers is totally different. The way you hit quarterbacks is totally different. You had chop blocks back in the day, right? Where you could go under a defensive lineman's knees and just cut them out, which was terrible because a lot of guys got injured with that. And Bob McKittrick was getting cursed out by multiple defensive line coaches because of the way the 49ers used to cut blocks. So you want to start from the 2000s, maybe?
Yeah, approximately.
Let's go 2000.
So I would say in the last 20 years or so, the best 49er defenses, in my mind, all right, and I would love your opinion on this as well. I think you got to start with 2011. Right? Like that's one of the ones. Like if we're going in chronological order. 2011, listen to these all-pros. All-pro. Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman, Justin Smith.
Yeah.
That's on defense alone. Second team, all right, all-pro. Carlos Rodgers, and then Justin Smith made it at a second position.
Arthur Smith didn't make all-pro that year?
That was his rookie year. No, he did not.
Even though he had a dynamic. I don't even think he won rookie of the year, did he?
No, I don't think he did either.
Was it Von Miller who won rookie of the year?
It might have been Von Miller. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to go back and look. But I just look at that team. Now, look at Pro Bowlers. Now, I know people scoff at Pro Bowlers.
Yeah, I do.
But I'm... Okay.
By the way, randomly, Pro Bowl's done.
I know. I saw that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, Pro Bowl is done.
We don't need that Alex Smith being the 19th alternate, Pro Bowler so that people could say, see, Alex was a Pro Bowler is not what I need in my life. But just Pro Bowlers, okay? Justin Smith, Patrick Willis, Rodgers, Deshaun Golson. I mean, that's an incredible list. And we remember that 49er defense, 2011, didn't allow a rushing touchdown until the very end of the year. They were an elite defense. Similar to this team and this version of the Niners, they were run first, minimize the amount of possessions. They played a 3-4. They were elite. They were going to hit you. We have team speed.
Right.
I mean, that was a very, very dominant group. And they were 1 or 2 plays away from being in the Super Bowl.
Yep. That was a very good group. Very good group. Probably the best defense of that tenure, no doubt, under Harbaugh and Vic Fangio. They were flying around. The next year, Justice Smith got hurt in that Seattle game, or that Patriots game on Sunday Night Football, where he basically tore his biceps? Was it the biceps or the pec?
Yeah.
And then he basically wasn't the same.
But in that 2012 team, which was a really, really good team, I'm not trying to dismiss it. So I'll give you the all-pros, back-to-back years. Patrick Willis first team, Bowman first team, Justin Smith second team, Golston first team, Ahmed Brooks second team, Aldon Smith first team.
Wow.
Now, they were more decorated because of 2011.
Because of 2011.
I think they got more recognition. I lean 2011 was slightly better.
2011, I thought, was them at their peak.
I thought so too.
They didn't have to blitz.
I thought so too.
They were rushing the passer with just that front.
And how it ended?
And how it ended.
They felt like they were leaking oil.
Dude, but 2012 they were leaking oil against the Ravens.
Excuse me. Yeah. How 2012 ended, they were leaking oil.
Yep,
2011 it felt more comprehensive.
they were humming.
Yes.
They were humming.
That's what I'm saying.
And Eli Manning, I mean, he got hit over and over and over and over. And it was a heroic performance for Eli Manning.
One of the all-time great ones.
That game flipped when Terrell Brown got hurt, when Rodgers and was it Golston and Terrell Brown, or was it I think it was Golston and Terrell Brown. They went up for the interception in that NFC Championship game, and Terrell Brown got hurt. Tremaine Brock comes in. He gives up a touchdown on third down to Mario Manningham to give the Giants a lead there before David Akers kicked that field goal to tie the game and send it to overtime. So, look, man, that defense in 2011 is one of the best defenses probably the last 20 years for the 49ers.
Right.
I think it's better than 2019.
I'm with you. So that brings us to 2019. 2013, Willis hurt himself. Bowman was outstanding that year. I think it was Larry Grant made like 4 or 5 starts.
Larry Grant was good.
Yeah, for the 49ers. And the defense was kind of falling apart. They had traded Golston left in free agency. They traded up to go get Eric Reed. The defense was just very different. But I think 11 and 12 were their best defenses in the last 20 years. And then you get to 2019. Okay, that's Nick Bosa's rookie year. DeForest Buckner has a monster year. Eric Armstead finally breaks out as a pass rusher. And even though he was hurt at times throughout the year, it felt like Dee Ford was elite that year.
Dee Ford was good. Dee Ford was good.
You know, I know we always talk about Aldon Smith, but on those 2011, 2012 teams, Ahmed Brooks
was solid.
I mean,
stout against the run.
Yes.
Solid as a pass rusher. Was a physical beast. Got wrongly accused of personal foul on Drew Brees there, the Superdome. Remember that one?
That was the worst. That put them on the road.
Right, that put them on the road.
In 2013.
Yeah, it put them on the road where they had to play in Carolina, in Green Bay, and of course ended up losing in Seattle that season. But no, 2019. So we go to 2019 and we look at the secondary. Jimmy Ward proved a lot of people wrong.
That was a career year for him.
That was a career year for Jimmy Ward, no doubt. Hart played a lot better.
He did.
In that one. And then you had Richard Sherman,
who was an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler that year.
Which is crazy because we thought Sherman was maybe cooked.
Yeah.
Sherman was balling that year, but he leaked oil towards the end of the year.
He did.
NFC Championship and, of course, the Super Bowl. Then you had the linebacking core. We didn't know much about Dre Greenlaw that year. He was a rookie.
And Quan Alexander played and got hurt throughout that year.
Quan was good. And then Dre Greenlaw stepped up and made one of the signature plays in 49ers history in 2019. Heck, he had a couple of them. The first Seattle game, the interception in overtime, where it looked like he was going to bring it back to the house. It was like, wow, who's this Dre Greenlaw guy? Because we were all freaking out about Quan being hurt.
Right.
So Quan was good, but Dre Greenlaw picked up the slack and was the better linebacker towards the end of the year.
He was, absolutely. But I look at that team, and it was led by their front, right, B?
Yep.
Right? Their front was what led them. And Nick Bosa's breakout party as a rookie, it was like, wow, they've got something here. I look at this team right now. This feels on Monday night like their stiffest test in terms of offensive weaponry that they've faced yet.
It is.
Cooper Kupp is the best. He was the Triple Crown winner of wide receivers last year. Catches, yards, touchdowns.
Yep.
And then you're going up against, I would say, a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback and one of the top 5 to 6 offensive minds in the league in Sean McVay.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt he's one of the 5-6 offensive minds in this league. And look, Stafford, he will throw a couple up, but last week he only took 1 sack. 1 sack last week. Did not throw an interception. That gets him into trouble. But if you put pressure on him, he will throw it up, and you can hit him and fluster him and rattle him. Now, remember everybody was freaking out about Cam Akers in week 1, like, oh, wow, Cam Akers is not getting any carries. He led the way last week with 12 carries. 12 carries, 61 yards. So he's starting to run the ball a little bit better. And you still have Cooper Kupp. Allen Robinson, they're trying to figure it out, but he's a threat. And Tyler Higbee, for whatever reason, he's a very underrated tight end. I like Higbee a lot.
So when you're looking at this matchup and you're looking about this 49er defense that they've got right now, again, we both agree. To this point, their biggest test.
Biggest test, no doubt.
I kind of feel like this defense it has the potential, at least early on, to be better than 2019. The key that they have to have, complementary football. If the offense is not going to pull its weight, I don't think this defense will sustain and be better than what they were in 2019. Because part of why they were so great in 2019, they got stops on D, but the offense scored a lot, and it put that team in an opportunity to pin their ears back and go get the quarterback.
I like this defensive line a lot better than 2019. I think they're deeper.
Without Buckner.
I think they're deeper.
Really?
I think they're deeper. Drake Jackson, I think, can have an impact like a D Ford. Ebukam is not bad, so I think you have more
run stuff rate is really good.
Now, you're not as stout in the middle without Buckner and Armstead, so maybe you give a little bit there, but the drop-off's not hard. And also, DJ Jones was a big part of 2019 as well. Don't want to sleep on him.
He was.
But the secondary, I believe, is better now than it was in 2019. I think Ward, at this stage of his career, is better than where Sherman was at.
Hasn't played yet.
Yeah, hasn't played.
Or you're saying the Mooney Ward.
Yeah, Mooney Ward. Charvarius Ward is a lot better than where Sherman was at in 2019.
Yeah, he's in his prime and he can do more things.
Yeah, man-to-man, Sherm was a problem.
And I don't want to take anything away because Sherm did have a great year.
Sherm had a great year. But when teams started attacking him deep, like this second Arizona game, remember they went at Sherman? He got called for a couple pass interferences. It was like, damn, he can't deal with the speed.
Yeah.
Ward can deal with the speed. And then Mosley is a better version than what he was in 2019.
I'm with you there.
Now, Hufanga at strong safety?
Early on, I think he's better than what Tart was in 2019.
Yep, no doubt.
Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
But he's got to. This is where I struggle with it because we're in real time. We're 3 games in.
We've
That's got 14 more games.
There's a long way to go, and they see some top flight quarterbacks.
Yes.
I mean, Mahomes is coming. Herbert's coming. Brady's coming. I mean, you see some dudes, all right? You just saw a dude at Russell Wilson, and he burned you on the last possession of the game.
Do you think that Fred Warner is a better version now than when he played in 2019?
Yeah, I do. A lot wiser.
I do,
By the way, he joined Damon Arado, and he said that.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's so good on the air.
Yeah,
we'll play some of those cuts. He's so smooth.
He's a leader. He's
so
a legitimate leader. When you draft a middle linebacker to be the guy who wears the green dot helmet,
right?
Isn't the way he conducts himself? Isn't that what you're looking for in a player?
He did it from day one too.
He's just he's so wise beyond his years.
Everything they wanted Reuben Foster to be, Fred Warner Jr. has been,
and then some.
Yeah, no doubt.
And he's better, way better in pass coverage.
And before we take some calls on this, 888-957-9570. Where's this defense at? Through 3 games in, where do they rank with some of the better Niner defenses in the last 20 years? D'Amico Ryans, do you believe he's got the edge on Robert Saleh in 2019? The version of Robert Saleh in 2019 compared to D'Amico over the last 2 years.
My biggest criticism on Robert Saleh was they played almost the same defense, and it worked for a long time, but it felt like the same thing over and over. They wouldn't blitz a whole lot. The wide 9 did gash them in the run game, especially late in the year.
They've adjusted from the wide 9.
It feels like D'Amico's got more curveballs and more changeups.
Yeah.
But I don't study the film enough to know if we were doing the percentages of how many times they send a blitz from the nickel and how many times they send linebackers. It feels more versatile with D'Amico Ryans.
Yep.
And I'm just saying that based off my eyeball.
Yeah, no, it does feel a lot. That's why I give the edge to D'Amico. So this defense, so far, it looks like it could be better than 2019.
It has potential.
But we got that big caveat.
But the offense is going to be a big part of this.
Yeah,
2020, they were a really good defense. Even though Nick Bosa went down, the offense couldn't sustain drives, and it put them behind the 8 ball.
They can't. And then you're playing a quarterback this week at Stafford who 4 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions through 3 games. They can get some. That's the one thing this defense has to do to separate itself for 2019. Force turnovers.
Yeah.
Interceptions, which they got in the first couple weeks last week in Denver. You had a couple chances to recover a fumble. Getting turnovers is what's going to separate them for 2019.
The other guy who I think has had really good impact in the few amounts of snaps that he plays, Charles Omenihu is a playmaker.
He's a player.
Every time he's in there, it feels like he's stunting, he's twisting, he's blowing by somebody. He's strong, he's extremely fast and athletic. This defensive line feels deeper. It does, which is crazy to say because Buckner was so good that year.
I mean, they didn't miss Armstead last week.
That's nuts.
They didn't miss Armstead.
It really is nuts.
That is nuts.
And I do feel like the Hufanga and Mooney Ward acquisitions makes this team more dynamic.
They look nastier in the secondary.
They look faster.
They look faster and they look nastier. Now you also talk about Greenlaw, you talk about Bose. Kevin Givens. What about him in the middle of that defense?
I like him. I like him a lot, especially when you're going to rotate defensive line. This is why I don't love paying defensive linemen a lot of money because you can throw a guy out there who's undrafted and can get comparable production.
And Don't forget about Kinlaw. Kinlaw's having a nice start to the season.
He is having a nice start. Quietly.
He's having a nice start. Quietly having a nice start to the season. Let's go to...
It's just hard because the Bears are so stinky, even though their record's 2-1.
And the Hawks have Geno Smith.
Terrible.
And Denver's not there yet.
So I don't know. This feels like the truest test where I'll have a really good feel for how legit this defense is.
Well, this is the first test of many for the Niners.
Oh, no,
Their schedule
they get
ramps
Tom
up.
Brady, they get Patrick Mahomes, they're going to get Kyler at some point. They're going to get a
Kyler
variety
twice.
I know, but they're going to get a variety of play styles.
Yep.
You're going to get Herbert at some point if he can stay
one thing
healthy.
they struggle with, right, is mobile quarterbacks. Good thing about Stafford is he's not mobile. He's going to be in that pocket. You know where he's going to be. And this offensive line is just not good for the Rams. I want to get into that in a second
that
here.
feels like a big mismatch.
It's a big mismatch coming up on Monday night. But the Niners offensive line. Doesn't it feel like a mismatch for the Reds, too, on the other side of the ball?
Bonte, remember a couple years ago we did the Aaron Donald bet?
Yeah.
I'm so worried about Aaron Donald against Jake Brendel. I mean, I think he's going to slide over and go up against McKivitz.
Oh, Banks. Pick your poison for Aaron Donald.
This is the week Shanahan needs to earn his money in terms of scheming, whatever it looks like.
Move Jimmy around.
Quick release.
Bootlegs.
Quick. I don't know what it looks like, but I'll tell you this. You got to do something because I'm really worried about Aaron Donald.
All right, we got Fillmore Mike, and it says not the OG. So I'm confused on which Fillmore Mike this is. Fillmore Mike in the city.
What up?
Listen to the Art of Radio.
Yo, what's up, man?
Oh, it's the real Fillmore Mike. Okay, it's the real not the OG Fillmore Mike, the young Fillmore Mike. All right, got it.
Yeah, for real. I don't know who Cuz is, but it's all love. My name is Michael is a popular name, but hey, man.
Hey, it's Sam Lutman, Fillmore. Sam Lutman, man, making a rookie mistake.
No, it's all good. Lutman is a solid guy. Hey, but look, it's crazy how y'all knowledge, like y'all memory is crazy, bro. Like, y'all be remembering, both of y'all, too.
Thank you.
Joe Shasky, Bonte Hill. Y'all, because I watch every game, too. I mean, I smoke a lot more weed than y'all. I watch every game, too. And y'all memory is impeccable. I just want to say a couple of things. I think this is one of the best defenses the Niners have ever had. Some of them weak teams in the early 2000s, now they weren't celebrated, but BY had them boys playing hard.
Mm-hmm. Julian Peterson.
Remember this one? Two names. Hey, Bonte, we texted this a couple of weeks ago. Alden Smith could have been one of them boys. One more thing. JP Julian Peterson.
I loved him.
Yep.
He was a star back in the day. He was before he was on that in 8 positions. He was going crazy, man. I just wanted to say that y'all.
Before you go,
go ahead.
When he shut down Tony Gonzalez, that was the game.
That was the
when
game.
Jim Moore Jr. was on the sideline, and everyone was like, "Jim Moore Jr. needs to be the coach of this team." Remember that?
Because he was guarding Tony Gonzalez in the slot by himself, number 98, JP, killing it. And Mike Rumpf was getting picked on that game, and they had to go ahead. They had to help Mike Rumpf with safeties, and then JP was like, "You got Tony G," and he had like one catch for 7 yards. And Kansas City was complaining, "Oh, JP got he got away with holding. He got away with holding in that game. He was good.
He was a stud in Madden too.
He was good. Hey, one last point, man. Look how our defense has been so good the last 20 years. Look how many defensive coordinators from the Niners that have gotten hired.
That's a good point.
Triple.
Yeah, Lord Vic Fangio, Robert Saleh. That's actually a really good point. Jim Moore Jr.
Jim Moore Jr. is three coaches right there.
I'm going to go two
our
names.
Our poll right now at Morning Roast 95.7. What was the best 49ers defense in the last 20 years? Let us know. 2011, 2012, 2019, and 2022.
I like that. Going to the early 2000s, Julian Peterson, had he played in this era, would be a $40 million player in the sense that he would get he could cover tight ends in space,
and
he could rush the quarterback
and stop the run.
He was so good.
Remember when he came back from he was a Seahawk.
He tore his Achilles.
But he was a Seahawk. He made a play at Candlestick Park, and he just did the thing where he pointed at the back of his nameplate, and he did it like he put extra emphasis on it.
I got a 98.
90 fans started losing their minds like, fool, screw you, we made you, we made you. But he started doing it, he held it too for a long time.
It was him, Ulbrich, Derek Smith as as a 3-4.
Yep.
That was such a fun team.
Yep.
And
Were
Jamie,
they 4-3? Were they 4-3 or 3-4?
They went 3-4.
When they went 3-4,
and
yeah,
Jamie
that's right.
Winborn.
Jamie Winborn
was sick,
was
though.
good.
People forget.
He came in training camp. He took
was
that
sick.
job.
And
He took that
I think
job.
he got traded to Jacksonville at
Yeah,
some point,
he-
and he never came back.
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
The other two guys that I think we always forget, and I look back on them, Ahmed Plummer, if he could have stayed healthy, I thought was going to be a really good DB.
His last game was that divisional round loss against the Tampa Bay
He
Bucks.
was good, dude.
He retired out of nowhere.
Him and Jason
remember?
Webster were solid.
He had a bad injury. He was a first-round pick out of Ohio State.
Yep.
He was that same draft with Julian Peterson. I thought Plummer was very solid. And after a while, Niner fans started saying, "Oh, bum-ass, I'm in Plummer." And I don't remember him being a bum. I remember him saying,
'cause he got
I'm going
hurt.
to take the number one wide receiver. He got the neck.
The neck.
Look, everybody sees that highlight of Randy Moss mossing him in the Metrodome. But that was one of Moss's only catches in that game.
Yeah, exactly.
He actually did a really good job on Randy Moss. I love Ahmed Plummer. That's a good call there. And Jason Webster. Was he Texas A&M?
Yeah, 36.
Yep.
I mean, they were a solid
were.
duo. It was Mike Rump who couldn't stay on the field.
Mike Rump
they
couldn't
just
stay on the
kept
field.
picking on him.
And they had
Roast Rump.
they had Tony Parrish.
And he had a good number, too.
And they had Zach
24.
Bronson. Remember Zach Bronson had 7 picks that one year?
He was part of the Jim Morris Sr.,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. He had that pick.
Playoffs.
I'll never forget when the Niners made the playoffs that year with Jim Moore Jr. and Mooch. They lost in Chicago that year at Soldier Field. But they were up big. Shea Matthews killed them in the fourth quarter. But Zach Bronson had a pick 6 that day. It was like for 90+. People know. You'll remember.
Lance Schulter, Zach Bronson.
Dude, they were sick,
so
right?
many Niner safeties.
I remember he picked it off and went to the house, and there was a Niner fan. I don't know why I remember this. There was a Niner fan with a sign. The Niners are back in Soldier Field, and he had the sign, and he kept waving it up. The Niners are back,
Narrator,
and it was like
the Niners are not back.
the Niners are, and when they made the playoffs that year, they were back then, and then it went sideways once Erickson got the job.
Those early 2000 defenses
They were good.
extremely underrated.
Yep, very underrated.
Extremely
very underrated.
I'm with him on that. And then I'm going to give you a name, and you're going to smile. John Engelberger.
Oh, my
at
God,
defensive
Virginia
end.
Tech,
Remember
number
him?
94.
What a
solid.
bust.
He had the U-bar.
Oh, I couldn't
He had
stand
the
him.
U-bar. You didn't like him?
I couldn't stand Engelberger.
He was solid.
He was always like 5 steps too slow on the edge. He was the guy that would bite on the run fake every time.
Oh, my gosh. Well, great defenses.
Which one are you
888-957-9570.
11, 12, 19, or 22? Who are you taking?
It's hard not to take 2011.
That's what I'm saying. And
It's
that felt like
hard.
that first love, too, with
It's
Harbaugh.
hard not to take them. It's hard. Dante Whitner. That Saints game, because people forget.
When Golson would hit you and then
Right,
do the hawk.
and did the hawk.
Oh, my God.
He decapitated Michael Clayton from Tampa that year. Remember that?
I do
On the
remember
pick
that.
6.
I
I mean,
do.
he blew him up. But the moment in Philadelphia where Justice
The
Smith
punch out.
strips
Yeah.
Jeremy Maclin from the back on the wide receiver screen, and they recover it, and the sideline goes crazy like, it's our ball, it's our ball, it's our ball. It made everybody believe.
Was that the game Morgan broke his leg? Josh
That was
Morgan?
the Tampa Bay game.
Joshua Morgan?
So I remember that game. That was one of the few Niner games I went to that year.
Okay.
I took my little brother, Bernard. Call me, Bernard. It's been a while.
Okay.
They were up 41-3.
Oh, yeah, it was the blowout game.
Blowout game.
Alex actually threw a ball past 20 yards in that game.
Yeah, I know. They were rolling.
Remember that?
They brought in Kaepernick.
Oh.
He threw a touchdown pass at the end of the game. But it was to Josh Morgan when he broke his leg.
Was he Joshua at that time? Because remember he switched
Joshua
his name?
Morgan. Yeah, it was Joshua Morgan.
Yeah. He was
Joshua
nice.
Morgan was not supposed to be in the game. Somebody else was supposed to be in the game, and they were looking for the helmet. So Crabtree and Morgan started fighting. It was like, oh, this is a free touchdown. Stats, stats, stats. And he ran into the game. He wasn't even supposed to be in the game, Shasky. I watched the whole thing. I'll never forget it. I was like, oh, why is Josh Morgan going to? Kind of had a Booby Miles feel to it on Friday Night Lights when he wasn't supposed to be in the game.
Yeah.
And what was it? Kromer couldn't find his helmet, so Booby ran in.
Like Brent Jones with John Taylor in the
There you
88
go.
Super Bowl.
There you go. So Joshua Morgan, man, he was really, really
Was
good.
he
But that
Virginia Tech
defense-
too?
Joshua Morgan was Virginia Tech.
Dude,
He was
Beamer
Virginia
Ball,
Tech.
he had players, dude.
Beamer Ball, I used them on video games
He had
all the
players.
time. They had players, dude.
I thought Daryl Tapp was going to be that dude.
He actually was a pass rush coach for the Niners.
Was he?
Matter of fact, he may be on the staff.
I thought Daryl Tapp was going to be that dude.
He may be on the staff
Who
now.
was the cornerback? D'Angelo Hall? The one
D'Angelo
that the
Hall went to
Raiders paid?
VTech. He
Yeah.
went to VTech. They
We're
had
going
another
way
one
down.
too.
Yeah.
They had another one too. Let's go to Chris in Concord. He's on the radio. He wants to talk about the
What
greatest
do we think of this
Niner
defense?
defenses. What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up, guys? So just kind of wanted to chime in on great 49er defenses. And what about that 94-95 defense, man?
Well,
You had Dana Stubblefield.
Yeah.
You had Merton Hanks doing the chicken dance. You had Tim McDonald. You had Deion Sanders on the outside. I mean, dude, Ken Norton that defense, I mean, sorry, Fillmore Mike, but this defense this year has nothing.
Well, in Fillmore Mike's defense, we were going last 20 years.
Yeah.
That felt like an all-star team to me. You had Richard Dent coming in.
Yep.
You had Sam Mills playing on that team.
Brian
Lee
Young was
Woodall,
a rookie.
Gary Plummer. Yeah,
Deion.
Brian Young was Defensive Rookie of the Year that year. Dana Stubblefield, the Defensive Player of the Year, and Deion Sanders, Tyrone Drakeford.
Eric Davis.
I mean, there were so many great players on that team. That defense was all-time.
Yeah.
All-time. Charles Haley.
Chris, you still there?
Yep, I'm still here, man. I totally agree with you guys.
What about the potential of
Haley
this
was on
defense? What do you think about this defense?
You know, I'll be completely honest, man. I'm a Dolphins fan, so I'll tell you right now, like, I haven't really been watching the 49ers this year.
I'm curious. What are you guys thinking of Mike McDaniels? Because there's a lot of chatter from Niner fans. We're missing Mike McDaniels. And I feel like now it's kind of jumped the shark. Like, I get it. McDaniels was influential, but let's not pretend like he's, Bill Walsh reincarnated. But how are Dolphin fans feeling about him?
I can tell you right now, as a Dolphins fan, we are stoked. I can tell you that we finally have an offensive-minded coach, and I mean, just look at Tua's numbers right now, and look at what they're doing to the rest of the league. So, everybody should be on notice.
There it is. Dolphin fans coming out of the woodwork. Thanks for the call, Chris, by the way. Daryl Tapp.
Number 55.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech.
Yep.
One of my favorite defenses in college football history.
Great. He's the assistant defensive line coach for the 49ers.
Is he?
Last year was his first year. I told you he was deep assistant last year.
I loved him.
He's on the staff now.
Well, he was a Falcon? What was he?
So he was a Seahawk, Eagle, played with Washington, Detroit, the Saints, and the Bucks.
Seahawks.
And the Bucks.
Wow.
Was drafted by Seattle. Only had 29 career sacks. Second round pick out of VTech.
So if we're asking like the favorite defenses, if you're going to go 2011, I don't think you're wrong there. I would probably, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably taking 2011. But I have to say, 2019,
the defense was good.
It was so good. It was so good. And there was something about Levi Stadium when Sherman would make an interception.
Oh, it popped.
That place, everybody would be shaking their heads. And
we got the pick against Minnesota in the playoffs, and that place went crazy.
I mean, and then Bosa, like that team
there
was
something
really
about
fun.
Sherm. There was something
there
about
was just
Sherm.
something fun. Now, I'm probably going to lean 2011, but I don't want to like dismiss 2019 because 2019 was so fun. And I fell back in love with my Niners that year.
So 2019, I did too, and it happened in the Pittsburgh game. Remember that?
I do.
They beat them at home.
I
They
do.
held on for dear life and beat Pittsburgh 24-20. That stretch where they had to play Arizona on Halloween, and the defense looked tired. Then the overtime game against Seattle, the pick. It was an iconic game. That's when your grandpa had the greatest line ever. You know, guys, I've been to some great wins, and I've seen some brutal losses. And he paused for like 7 seconds. That was a brutal loss.
That was like a 9-hour day for him at
Grandpa
Levi Stadium.
Shatsky.
That was a long day.
Dude,
I learned my lesson. No primetime games for the 86-year-old.
No more primetime games for him.
I'm taking my wife and niece this Monday.
What game are you going to take Grandpa to?
Oh, we're going to go. We already have it locked in.
Arizona?
We're going to the Chiefs game.
Chiefs game. Oh.
Yeah, he's getting them Mahomes.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. He wants to see Mahomes, huh?
He wanted to go to the opening day. I said, Grant, it's going to be like a downpour. I love you, buddy, but...
All right. But that stretch in 2019, we forget. They had to play Arizona again. They had to come back from 16-0.
Mm-hmm.
Defense played great in the second half of that one. They had to play Lamar Jackson in Baltimore.
Oh, that was a good game. In the rain.
In the rain.
That was
They
a good game.
held the Packers to 8 points on Sunday Night Football. Remember that?
That's one of those few times where you lose and feel proud of your team.
Yeah, you felt good after the Baltimore game. And then they gave up the 46 to the Saints, and it was like, all right, that was the stinker for the defense. Then they had to play the Falcons. They played the Rams. Defense started leaking oil towards the end of that season. Remember that? They gave up 29 points to the Falcons. Now, what happened on that last play of the game where if you were a bettor, you got pissed off about that. But that was the Julio Jones game when he just dominated and Sherman didn't play. So that's where I lean 2011 because they were more consistent throughout the season. More consistent. They didn't falter down the stretch like 2019 did.
Well, and I also feel like the lasting image of 2019 is Quan dropping a pick, 3rd and whatever, where they threw it
3rd
down.
and 15,
I mean,
Mosley.
come on. You know, like there's a lot. And then like Sherman getting burned.
You're right.
You know, like, but don't let that like don't forget how great they were throughout the totality of the year. And let's not forget, that was one of the most explosive offenses the league has ever seen.
Yeah.
And they suffocated them until the end. I know they look, the dam broke. And it was a huge flood. And I'm not trying to be mean with all the stuff going on in Florida, so I probably shouldn't use that analogy. But my point being is that was a great defense. And I know it ended in an ugly way, but it doesn't take away from how much I loved watching them play.
And that defense, the goal line stand at the end of the game against Seattle. Remember that? That goal line stand? We all thought, we watched that game right here.
Incredible.
We said, damn, they're going to blow home field advantage just like that.
I know.
They were number one all year. They're going to blow home field advantage.
And we're going to go back to the Julio Jones play the week before where they lost on the final play of the game.
Because I remember Danny Fry telling me, this game isn't important. I was like, damn it, the Falcons game is important.
Didn't Steiny say that too?
Yeah, he did. He apologized to me that day. Remember, he was like...
He's coming down my road last night on Twitter.
Was he?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, there was a guy on the Giants who was wearing number 18, and all I said was there are certain numbers in sports for certain organizations that if you're not going to retire, because that's Matt Cain's number, if you're not going to retire it for Matt Cain, which is fine. I don't even know if I'm 100% on Matt Cain having his number retired. I can go in both directions on that. It should be reserved for someone who I believe has a little more impact on the franchise long term. For example, 22. It wasn't retired for years and years and years for the Giants, and they would hand it out to like Dan Ugla. And it's like Dan Ugla does not deserve. The guy was DFA'd in Florida and in Atlanta, and you came here on like a prove it deal, and you gave him 22. Like, can we read the room a little? It's like 81 with the Niners. You're not going to retire T.O.'s number,
but you give it to Trent Taylor.
Yeah. Or Jordan Matthews.
Yeah, that's weak. That's weak. So Steiny came down your road.
Oh yeah, he's like, well then you should start issuing 3-digit numbers then.
You and Steiny are like best buds, though. You guys are BFFs.
I love Steiny.
Yeah, you guys are BFFs.
I listen to that show every day.
No, this isn't a knockoff jersey. This is 503 Sports. 503 Sports. Relax over there, Chris Hansen. Somebody also asked, front office. What up, front office? Did we plan on matching today?
No, I didn't even.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, I was just. Go ahead.
I got some of those Steph Curry shorts, those Warrior ones.
Oh, yeah.
The ones that have all the patches on them.
From the parade?
Yeah, Rocco hooked me up.
Yeah, I know.
He came through. How'd you know?
Because he told me he was going to come through.
Yeah.
He told me.
I went and I saw his new house.
I thought it was supposed to be a
yesterday.
surprise for your birthday.
Oh, I think it was just for me being such a great dude.
Yeah, and those shirts are hard, huh? I got a pair, too.
And they fit perfect.
Oh, dude, I got a pair, too. I can't. Dude, I wore them twice. Dad has been hating. It's just like, you really spent that much money on those shorts?
They have the nylon in them, and so I'm curious if I'm supposed to wear boxers or briefs with them underneath, or if you're supposed to go.
If I was you, I would wear boxers or briefs under them.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm talking about? They have like the swimming like netting on it.
You don't want to be free, if you know what I mean. Don't just go. Wear some boxers, all right?
Yeah. Can we agree 2011 was better than 2012, even though 2012 was more decorated in terms of all pros?
2011 blows 2012 away.
So we agree there.
22. The injury to Justice Smith changed 2012. It changed.
I'm with you.
They got blown out in Seattle. They gave up a ton of points to Atlanta. Remember, Atlanta was up 17-0 in the NFC Championship game, and for some reason, Atlanta wanted to try to run the ball. It was like, no. You keep passing, you're going to beat the Niners that year. They had no pass rush.
Trent Baalke finding Navarro Bowman. I know we've forgotten, but they moved off to Keo Spikes, and they put Bowman in there. And Bowman, to this day, I will say this. No one ever talked about it. As great as the 2011 defense was, what made that team was the Tony Montana special teams unit, because Goldson, Bowman, all those guys played special teams. And I'm big on this. And they were so sick.
And Bowman.
Was it Blake Costanzo?
Blake Costanzo. Linebacker, backup linebacker. And the fact is, Tony Montana.
Play that song.
Bowman started playing all three downs instead of Patrick Willis.
He
became the 3-down linebacker. He became the passing down linebacker. And that interception he had against Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field to set the tone for the season. Remember that?
Yes.
He had that pick right in the middle of the field. Bowman should have been Defensive Player of the Year. Should have been Defensive Player of the Year over Luke Kuechly.
It sounds sacrilegious to say. I was one of the people saying, as great as Willis is, and I thought Willis is one of the greatest linebackers I've ever seen in my life, Bowman's 2013 season is the greatest linebacker season I've ever seen in my entire life.
As a 49er, no doubt. No doubt.
He did
everything. He did everything.
How about they hit on Russell Wilson on the second to last Candlestick game?
On the bootleg. It was a 13-6 game on Thursday Night Football.
He ran the whole length of the field.
It was like a missile. And it was like, remember they kept highlighting it too? It was like, look at this guy, number 53.
I'll never forget when he went down on the Eric Reed accidentally hitting him. I cried. I knew his career would never be the same.
Yeah, no, it was sad.
That was one of the worst injuries I've ever seen in any sport. It ruined his career. The fact he even came back, the fact he didn't lose his leg is a miracle.
Pick at the stick, no doubt about that. But that game in Seattle, that was, if there's, when we say body bag games.
Oh, it's the ultimate one. Remember Gene Steratore? He said it's the hardest hitting game in all my years in the NFL.
He said it was the most physical game ever.
Ever.
I'm
convinced Frank Gore got a concussion in the second quarter.
And then he made that play on 4th and 9, and I thought we were going to win the game.
We were talking about plays that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Booby Dixon scores a touchdown. They don't call it. They have to go back out there, and Aponte breaks his leg, and he's never the same.
And he's never the same, no doubt. Oh, my. There was carnage left on that field.
Look at us.
Carnage left on that field. The 4th and 9, and then the next play, Kaepernick hits Crabtree in the middle of the field. He gets 15, and they were rushing for whatever reason. It's like, don't rush. We got the game in control.
How about the Kaepernick throw on where he's running like a shortstop?
Oh, the Anquan Bolden.
They threw a missile, and Bolden caught it above his head.
I tell you the play that changed that game as we're going down
Michael
memory lane.
Bennett strip?
No. First half. Niners are up 10-0.
Well, they should have scored 7 points on the first drive when Bolden got the strip.
They called the quarterback draw on 3rd down. It was like, Harbaugh, what are you doing? Greg Roman, what are you doing? But it was 10-0. And Russell Wilson's running around, and he throws one deep to Doug Baldwin, and he caught Dante Whitner sleeping.
I remember that.
Seattle was able to get 3 points.
Was that the play where everyone jumped off sides and they stopped? They all just stopped?
No, that was a different play. That was
another one that pissed me off.
There was like 4 memorable plays. But that play, it allowed Seattle to score 3 points. They kicked the field goal before halftime, and they were able to keep Marshawn Lynch in the game plan. And once they kept Marshawn Lynch in the game plan, it was like, And they came out in the second half, and Marshawn Lynch ran it right down their throats and tied that football game. Oh, that game bothers me. That was the ultimate body bag game. But I thought, when they converted that 4th down to free car, I said, the Niners are going to steal this game. They're going to the Super Bowl. I really thought that.
It's one of the greatest plays Seattle sports history. I just say NFL history. And the fact Malcolm Smith was in no man's land trailing the play.
I can't believe it.
Not only did Crabtree bat it back to him, he just happened to be... I'll never get over that.
All right, let's get Mo on hold. We'll get Mo at the top of the hour. We went down memory lane. Sorry about that, Mo. We'll get to you. It'll be the first call right before Jason Aponte. We'll get you on, Mo, before we get to Jason Aponte, Niners Nation, Sprint Right Pod. He's going to join us next to talk about this season, where it can go, this defense. We'll compare some defenses. We'll do all that here on the Morning Roast. But first, you know what time it is.
It's time for the Injury Report.
That really hurt.
Brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years.
All right, believe it or not, other teams are being hit with the injury bug this season too, and it's the Chargers. The Chargers always get hit with the injury bug. Rashawn Slater, remember their first-round pick out of Northwestern a season ago? The left tackle will miss the rest of the season, which is not going to help Justin Herbert. The news got even worse yesterday when it was announced that defensive end Joey Bosa will undergo groin surgery and will go on injured reserve. Head coach Brandon Staley did express hope that Bosa will return to the field this season. Now you look at that Sunday night game, you're saying we don't have to deal with Bosa and Khalil Mack. It's just Mack. Sucks for Joey Bosa, though. He's a very good player. Groin surgery.
Go.
Yeah, the Chargers. Looks like they're going to charge her again this season. They are inconsistent. The Injury Report brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. Jason Aponte next, but first look at the Mo on the other side. He'll set the tone for the 8 o'clock hour, and that would be sponsored by Fremont Bank, full-service banking. No compromises.
Lubman is a solid guy.
Check out Kickoff with Boomer Esiason and Mike Valenti every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on 95.7 The Game.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Does your heart long to wander? To encounter colorful creatures from the deep blue sea and amazing animals from the Amazon and beyond? Feed your wild heart. Travel the world. right here in San Francisco. Make your reservation to the California Academy of Sciences at calacademy.org. See rare specimens, ancient fossils, and more at our new exhibit, Hidden Wonders.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter.com/find.
We're all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. Fruits and vegetables are very environmentally friendly foods. Make them even more friendly by eating them in season. Join Odyssey, and together each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Hey guys, Mike Valenti for Cash the Ticket podcast. If you like sports betting or if you just like sports, it's the podcast for you. We try to cover all the big games and maybe some of the games you didn't even know were important, give you some angles, pick some winners, have a good time, and hopefully help you meander through college and pro football season. So join us a couple times a week to get all your information you need to bet the games that you watch. It's Cash the Ticket on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
Hey, remember how 20 years ago I switched to Progressive? Well, now it's the future, and I used all those savings to buy this new hologram phone. Because, you know, it's the future, and everything is holograms now.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-1509. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC-FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's time to wake up with a nice cup of morning roast.
Oh, yeah.
Featuring Aponte Hill and Joe Shasky.
Hey, well, I'm about that action, boss.
Take him out! This is the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game.
Uh-oh. I'm about to cut the Porsche.
Okay.
Dude,
we're bringing it back to 2011.
Candlestick was so lit when the whole place.
Well, there's two players I think of: Boobie Miles and Larry Grant. Always think of those two.
Blake Costanzo.
Blake Costanzo too.
White boys.
On the kickoff team, going back and forth. And Boobie after the games, when he would wave the 49er flag, he would wave that baby in front of the dugouts.
Tony Montana.
This was hard.
Tony Montana. The whole entire place would go crazy.
So we've been talking about defense. As baby. Good morning to everybody out there getting off their graveyard shifts. If you're at work, good morning to you. If you're getting ready for work, if you're on the roadways, good morning to everybody out there listening on the Odyssey app, Comcast Business Text Line, of course, YouTube and Twitch. We love you all. We love Jason Aponte, one of the many great 49er content producers. He's all over the place on Twitter, man, representing for the Niners, Sprint Right Pod, Niners Nation. He's everywhere. And I wonder, because he's full of himself now because he got Aaron Judge and the Yankees hitting 61.
I mean, I don't
They're
blame
going
him.
to the playoffs, and the Giants, they're trying to battle to get to 500. I don't know what they're doing.
Oh, my God. Let's start right
John
here.
Sterling.
Let's start right here. Okay, we were having a debate because we're talking about through 3 games, this looks like a really good defense.
No doubt.
Elite is what I would say. They haven't had a true test. It's really early. In the last 20 years or so, we narrowed it down 2011, 2012, 2019, and obviously this year's version in terms of the best defenses of the last 20 or so years from the 49ers. Which defense are you taking?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me, man. It's honor and a pleasure. And yeah, Aaron Judge is 61, but I think we know who the home run king is. It's Barry Bonds.
Thank you. Barry Lamar.
That's coming from a Yankee fan, everybody. From a Yankee fan.
From the Bronx as well, too.
From the Bronx.
There we go.
The Bronx.
Yeah.
There it is.
Not Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
No.
No, we don't do that, actually. But no, if you want to be prisoner for a moment, and I'm going to just take this defense, and here's why.
Okay.
Jimmy Ward hasn't played one snap. Eric Armstead didn't make this game either as well, too. Jason Verrett could possibly be in there, right? And Samuel Womack starts, and now Diamador Lenoir steps in, and he plays well. You're talking about insane depth in the secondary now when Jason Verrett returns, Jimmy Ward returns, and then Eric Armstead coming back and getting himself back acclimated. I really don't see how this defense wouldn't be the best in this time period unless there's barring some sort of injury. And knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Right.
But Nick Bosa is on his way to a historic season as far as pressures and sacks. I think that there is no way to look at anybody on all those other defenses as far as Alden Smith was incredible, but Nick Bosa, what he's doing right now is he could be one of the top 1, 2, 3 football players in the world at any position if he continues his rate. So yeah, and throw in the fact that DeMeco Ryans has largely become the best defensive coordinator in the league. I mean, on 3rd and 14, right? Let's just say this, and I don't want to disrespect the great Robert Saleh, but on 3rd and 14, what you would have normally seen from this defense in 2019 was just everybody drop back in the cover 3 and just make the front 4 go get him. He's sending pressure on 3rd and 14 and sending guys. You know why? He's dialing it up at the right time, and he's not taking his foot off the gas. The defense is the least of my worries with this team.
Wow, 20, that's a good point. You made a lot of excellent points there. Don't forget about Vic Fangio, another great defensive coordinator in 2011. That was another team that did not blitz.
No.
They didn't have to because of Justin Smith and Alden Smith, Ahmed Brooks, and, of course, Ray McDonald in the middle, Isaac Sapawaga. That was a great man. We're talking about some great defenses here. But time is early. It's too early to tell. Denver struggling on offense. We know about Geno Smith in Seattle, but you play with who's on the schedule, Justin Fields in Chicago. And the problem I have with this defense so far, Chicago went crazy with those 3 straight touchdowns. The game got sideways with the Dante Pettis play, but this will by far be their biggest test on Monday. And I still think the Niners defense has an advantage because we know, Jason, Matt Stafford will throw a couple up for the defense.
Absolutely. And when you look at the way that their offensive line, I mean, there's so many questions about the 49ers offensive line, but here you're looking at the Rams offensive line. You're looking at no Boom, and you're looking at, there's no Andrew Whitworth. He's not walking through that door for them anymore. So now you're going to see, similarly, even when Whitworth was there, the Rams didn't necessarily blow the doors off the 49ers. They still struggled to score points. Allen Robinson was supposed to come in and be immediate contributor, and I don't think that's happened yet. I don't know what it is about him and Matthew Stafford. They haven't gotten on the same, Cooper Kupp is the Cooper Kupp, but running back situation, they don't really have a rotation there either, so they're in a similar place. It's funny, across the league right now, and I believe that the number is, for 10 years, this is the least amount of points across the league that have been scored. So there's a lot of teams that are struggling right now on offense, but even if the Rams were firing on all cylinders per se, the 49ers have never really given it up to them. It's not like they're just giving up 30 and 40 points to them.
Good point.
So now when you bring into the fact that Tyler Higbee is the number 2 guy with targets, their tight end, and the 49ers have done a masterful job covering tight ends, The Rams are not necessarily going to come in here and score points, and that's always been the point about when Trey Lance started or whoever was going to be the quarterback now, is this defense is never going to let any game get away from them. They're always going to have a chance to be right there, and it's all going to come down to the offense execute.
How do they get this offense to just pop a little more, man? We were talking about just different personnel things, and I'm coming outside the box with, I said, hey, maybe it is playing Debo exclusively at running back so that you can at least run some play action, because now it feels like every time he touches the ball, everybody's all over him, 4, 5, 6 guys on him. Is it playing Danny Gray? Is it just asking the quarterback to play better? How do they get some pop out of the O?
I think it's all of the above right there, Shasky, at this point. I mean, look, the Debo Samuel thing, you heard Kyle Shanahan say something that kind of was disheartening after the game about, well, nobody's shocked at the Debo runs anymore. Okay, well, now you know that. Fine. So maybe when you have Debo Samuel in the backfield, maybe you don't necessarily give him the ball so that everybody doesn't key in on him, right? Danny Gray, sure, you'd like to see that, but I think the quarterback has to play a little bit better. You have a lot of questions about this offense. I understand that, right? I understand that. But I'm not as concerned, because as long as there are guys running wide open down the field, it's not going to boil down to Kyle Shanahan, right? Like, there's all this talk about play calling and all these things. Kyle can't throw the ball either, right?
Yeah. And I agree there. Yeah.
And everybody always wants to talk about, well, you know, he's got the shackles on Jimmy. Well, you don't know what's being discussed in that room. You don't know what is going on, right? So my issue becomes this. Kyle Shanahan gets Brandon Ayuk on a safety or a linebacker. That's a matchup you need to take advantage of. And you just have to let it rip. Like, how many times can you see a guy running down the field, wide open, hand up, and Jimmy Garoppolo throws it into 2 guys? Or when Brandon Ayuk is running a crossover on 3rd down, which is a perfect 3rd down play, and Jimmy throws it at his feet. Look, I'm not here to bash Jimmy Garoppolo, but I think we can all objectively say he played poorly on Sunday. And that has so much more to do with this offensive lack of success than Kyle Shanahan's play calling. Sure, you can criticize certain play calls, and I'm fine with that. He's not above criticism. But at the same time, as long as guys are running wide open and the ball's not being thrown, I'm not certain what Kyle Shanahan can do anymore, and that's why he moved heaven and earth to try to move on and get Trey Lance, because this was happening too frequently.
Yeah, and you know what? It's well said. You're spot on. Jason Aponte, Niners Nation, Sprint Right Pod here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. You're so spot on, because plays are there to be made, yet the quarterback is not making them and not taking advantage of matchups, which is frustrating, because last week, players and whoever coaches are talking to Michael Silver at the SF Chronicle talking about, well, Jimmy gives us the best chance to win. And you watch that game on Sunday, and you hear all the excuses, and it's frustrating to hear that. So with that said, you're out there in the Bronx. You're covering the Yankees. Shasky and I the last 2 days have been saying this team lacks playmakers, which is why I'm hesitant to put Debo at running back, because I'm saying, well, if you put him at running back, the wear and tear he's going to get, all of a sudden you're down to wide receiver, and you have Brandon Ayuk, who's going to get shadowed by the defense, a corner and a safety over the top. Danny Gray, we don't know anything about. The quarterback can't get the ball to Danny Gray. And you have Jawan Jennings, who can't really get separation on the outside.
Yeah,
he's a possession receiver at best.
Which is fine.
Playmakers. What are they saying out there in New York City about Saquon Barkley? Now, it's very premature, but I wonder what's going to happen in that situation where he's going to be a free agent after the year, and we have no idea if the Giants want to pay a running back.
And to echo that, in 2019, when we could clearly see, hey, wide receiver's a problem,
they traded for
Emmanuel Sanders during the middle of the year. If you're a win-now team, I'm looking at this team, I don't know if Elijah's coming back. So I'm just asking, what are they saying about Saquon Barkley? Because I think he'd be a great fit.
Well, look, I think that a lot of the people here have a problem with the way that Saquon hasn't been able to stay on the field. And a lot of people, the game has moved towards not paying running backs second contracts, right?
Right.
Like the name of the game right now is draft them, run them into the ground, and let somebody else pay them, right? So now look at the Cowboys, right? There's a lot of talk now about Ezekiel Elliott being passed over by Tony Pollard, right? Derrick Henry isn't exactly King Henry like that anymore. Dalvin Cook is injured again. Christian McCaffrey is constantly injured. Alvin Kamara is injured.
Right.
This is why so many people stay away from going with the second contract. If I was guessing for the 49ers, I don't think they make a move like that, but I don't think anybody here in New York is necessarily ready to ship off Saquon.
Right.
I think that they're more focused on what the hell are they going to do at quarterback. But it's just the NFL right now has just moved away from the whole, well, pay running backs and just keep feeding them, because, once you get to 30, you might as well call that 50 in running back year.
Yeah. Right, no doubt. And just the aggressiveness at the deadline, because the deadline is going to come during the Niners bye week. October 30th is going to come, and then, the deadline's November 1st. Last year, we saw like 10 different moves around the deadline. We saw Von Miller get shipped to help the L.A. Rams from Denver. He goes to L.A. and wins the Super Bowl. Beckham gets cut by the Browns. He becomes an L.A. Ram. This feels like a year where the Niners may have to get aggressive because they had their full complement of picks in 2024 and 2025. You got a second-round pick next year and a third-round pick. I almost feel like they need to get aggressive and just surround Jimmy with playmakers and make it as easy as possible as if he's a rookie or a second-year quarterback like Trey Lance.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of having him at this discounted rate. Even though his numbers are going to go up the more he plays, it's still a discounted rate down from the $26 million. So you have flexibility to play around with. Don't forget the cap is going to increase next year too. I mean, I would love to see the 49ers go ahead and do that. One thing I think we're kind of overlooking at this point is George Kittle's first game back.
Yeah.
Now, and you know, he's probably getting himself up to speed. The only thing that I would say that is a little bit concerning now is that now that Trent Williams is out, how much is George Kittle going to have to be in there to block now at this point?
That's big.
I mean, from what you saw in the game the other night, because I'm blown away how much they get this guy to block. And I get it. That's part of his game. And it's what makes him so valuable. But I don't pay guys to block at the tight end position. I pay him to catch passes and take routes. He just didn't look like he had any juice. Am I the only one there? Or is that just I'm looking that he doesn't get enough targets to where he could show that he's running through people still?
No, I think that's very fair. And I think that, again, it was his first game back. You know, he had missed so much time because of the injury as well, too. So we have to give him at least a little bit of leeway there. And you know what? This may sound like a cop-out. I kind of want to give Jimmy Garoppolo a little bit of leeway as well, too. But it kind of makes me feel bad when I hear, well, it was like riding like a bike. And then all of a sudden this week, it's like, oh, well, we were rusty. And also, you know, for the people that tell me, well, he hasn't had the playbook, you know, which page in the playbook says, the end zone is 10 yards only. You know, but yeah, I think that we need time to figure this out, and I think that's what the glass half full approach is that I'm going to take. Right? It's 1-3 right now. It's 1-2 right now. Right in week 3, you have the Rams, you have the Carolina Panthers, you have the Falcons, and sandwiched right after that is the Chiefs. So you have bookended 2 really good teams. But if you find a way to get this done on Monday Night Football, you really have a chance to go on a little mini run here before you get to the Chiefs because. Let's just face it, the Panthers aren't very good, the Falcons aren't very good, and this defense, regardless if the offense isn't clicking, will be able to overcome those 2 teams, and then you get the real test. Hopefully by then this offense is kicked in. So, look, the sky isn't falling. Don't light everything on fire, right? Like, the season's not in the balance right here. You would love to have this win, and hopefully an extra day on Monday Night Football helps this offense kick into gear, but it's still right there all in front of you. And need I remind you, the NFC West isn't being run away. I mean, Arizona should be 0-3. Yeah. Thank you, Las Vegas Raiders. Seattle's terrible. And the Rams aren't exactly blowing the doors off of people either. So no one's running away with this division. It's still right there in front of the 49ers.
Doesn't it feel like if they go into the bye week 4-4, that's a win for the Niners, considering all the turbulence this season? They could be 4-4 going into the bye week. Then you play a Chargers team that's going to be without Joey Bosa for a long time. As you mentioned, Arizona's been a mess. The Saints can't do anything offensively with Jameis Winston. My goal is just be 4-4 by the bye week and see where you're at. See where you're at before the trade deadline.
Right, 100%. That's exactly how you should feel. And this is such a week-to-week league, not only with the way the teams play, but injuries shape how these teams are being brought up, right? Like you just mentioned it. When you look at the schedule and you went down the line, you said, well, the first 2 are wins for the 49ers. Well, we know how that worked out. They went 1-1. And then you say, oh, the first test is Denver. But then you realize that Denver hasn't actually been sharp offensively. Right. So that changes the way you look at it. So that's why you don't get too carried away with wins, loss at the beginning of the season when you see the schedule, because week to week, an injury here, the team's not performing there, teams change and they don't look that good. You know, you don't pray for injuries, but that's just the nature of the league.
Jason. Good stuff, man, as always, man. We love having you on the roast.
Great stuff.
Our roasters love you, man. Check out Jason at Niners Nation on Twitter, of course, and Sprint Right Pod. Jason's all over the 49ers, and he's all over Aaron Judge, who may be a future Giant. We'll hope.
Look, I will say this, and look, if he does end up going back home with the Giants, I will be happy for him. He deserves every single dollar. I'll be happy for you guys, and I'll be rooting for him to be the first righty to put it in McCovey coat.
There we go.
There it is. Look at that. He's not leaving the Yankees. Come on, man. $500 million.
I don't think so either, but if it happens to be you guys, I'm happy.
Dude, that yard, it's a hitter's paradise, man. New Yankee Stadium.
Buster's his favorite player. I don't know.
We'll
Thank
see
you,
about
Jason.
that. Jason, good stuff, man, as always.
I appreciate you.
All right, Jason Aponte here on the Morning Rush on 95.7 The Game. Said a lot of good things. We'll take this defense. He would take this defense now over all those defenses.
I think it's interesting because it's such a pass-happy league, right?
Right.
I do believe that when you look at the secondary, like even the 2011, 2012 teams, let's start there. hard hitting, weren't necessarily pass coverage.
No.
In terms of secondary.
No.
Carlos Rodgers had a monster year that year. Terrell Brown started to come on, but they weren't guys that like locked down anyone. They were more like smarts and guile and things like that. And they're going to
bend don't break.
And we're going to thump the crud out of you.
Right.
Like I just think of Hittner, and I think of Deshaun Golson the Hawk coming in and blasting somebody. 2019, they didn't generate turnovers outside of Sherman from the cornerback position. This year, it feels like Hufanga's like that changer, that game-changing type of player. Well, not only does he make plays on the ball, but he hits guys so hard the ball pops up in the air and someone else can make a play. And then Ward and Mooney obviously are a little more proficient at deflecting balls. So I kind of hear him on the secondary thing. I do think this is their best version of the secondary if we're ranking the 4 teams.
Well, 2019, though, I'm looking at these turnovers, and I'm looking at the turnovers they forced. They were really good.
Yeah, they had a lot of fumbles.
They forced...
And Warner had picks.
Yep. They forced 2 turnovers in the Super Bowl, 3 against the Packers in the NFC Championship game, and 2 against Minnesota. That's 7 turnovers in 3 games right there. Now, they gave the ball away 4 times, so that doesn't help. But you look at these like Seattle and overtime, they forced 4 turnovers.
Yeah, remember that one game? One of them was where Russ looked like he handed it to the lineman, and then Buckner stripped it from
ran
him.
in for the touchdown.
I mean,
flipped the game. Damn, they forced Baker Mayfield and the Browns into 4 turnovers.
By the way, everyone's saying the Jimmy G play from last week where he stepped out of bounds. Yeah. I've never seen Jimmy do anything dumb like that. Go back to that Monday night game.
Oh, gosh.
The Seattle game, when he was getting sacked and he just kind of threw the ball on the ground and we were up 10-0 and breathed life into the Seahawks.
Right.
Guy picked it up, scooped it up. I think it was Jadeveon Clowney.
Right.
Picked it up,
Clowney,
scooped it up, and walked in.
Yeah, Clowney walked in.
Just threw the ball on the ground.
Flipped the game,
like he was like a referee throwing a flag on the play.
Well, it was 10-0 at that point. Niners 10-0, and that got Seattle on the board. And not to mention the play last year, week 3, at home in the home opener against the Green Bay Packers. Remember that one?
Well, come on, why do you got to do that? And what overshadows it was Shanahan's play clock management in that game, where he threw 3 times at the end of the game.
Which I didn't have a problem with at the time. I'm not going to lie.
I'll be real, I wanted the tie.
Yeah, I did.
Because I knew they weren't going to march the length of the field.
The tie till Steiny started talking about the tie.
What are you talking about?
I don't remember that. I remember I was like, go for it. Just go win the game. Nobody wanted to tie the Seahawks.
No, in that situation, in that throwing it 3 times was giving them another chance to win.
I agree.
Your chances of winning were very minimal. It's all about winning.
It is about winning, but it wasn't
risk
about tying.
assessment.
I don't think people wanted to tie at that point. Well, it was a smart move, right? Maybe you get the tie, you remain in first
Chase
place.
McLaughlin just hits a damn field goal.
Well, he had nailed one before regulation was over,
he kicked
and
the
then
worst
he kicked one.
Field goal I've ever seen.
He had just nailed one, though.
I know, from 50.
And he hit one. He kicked it into the tunnel.
It looked like he was kicking with the wrong foot.
Oh, man. What a game that was. What a day that was. Let's go to Zach and Martinez, listening on the radio. Zach, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Hey, guys. So I just wanted to hit on a point the last caller said, which was you have to give time for George Kittle to settle back in. So, when Klay Thompson came back from multiple injuries, we all knew it was going to be a slow process, and we knew it was going to be a game-by-game, limit his reps, and let him ease back into the game. I really think that's going to be the case with George Kittle. And to a lesser degree, I know we expect a lot more out of the quarterback position, but I think you got to do the same with Jimmy. I know he had some excuses and obviously a boneheaded play last week, but the guy had an injury all year. I think we just got to give him time to settle in, get the shoulder right, and just get back into more of a game rhythm, because being out for an entire offseason, it doesn't do any players any favors.
No, it doesn't at all. Good call, Zach. Good call. Call us back soon.
Well,
and here's
that's
the thing.
an interesting point.
You know what? Patience. And so when you talk about patience, and it's not going to look pretty, at this point, just get wins, right? That Broncos game, it's ugly, right? The Broncos fans aren't going to complain.
No.
Russell Wilson and company and Nathaniel Hackett aren't going to go. They're saying to themselves, we go to Vegas with a chance to be 3-1. Tie for first place. That's what the Broncos are looking at it. So Monday night may be ugly. Hell, you may win the game 12-10. You may win it 15-13. I don't know. Just stack wins at this point and get to the bye week. Like, I'm looking at the schedule. Like, even Carolina, Atlanta, we say they're bad teams. I'd be happy with the split in those 2 road games.
Anybody can beat anybody.
Right. Anybody
can
beat
NFL.
The Carolina Panthers have very good defense, and Atlanta has a very good offense. They have playmakers, and they get the ball to their playmakers. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Cordell Patterson's running the ball hard out of the backfield. Then you get Kansas City and the Rams in L.A. I'm just saying to myself, I'm 1-2 right now. Where can I be October 30th? Can I get to 4-4 going into the bye week?
Here's the only issue I've got with this point, and it's an interesting point. Obviously Clay missed 2 full seasons with 2 devastating. These are career-ending injuries that and at least in that sport. Basketball's so different. There's so much inventory of games you can ease. There's minutes you can come in and out. Like, it's just so hard trying to compare and contrast basketball in terms of how you ease yourself back in to football. Football is full go, small, tiny little career. Every single play is dramatically more important than even a full game in the NBA. Like, it's so hard to compare. I get what he's saying, but I also go back to and I'm looking at George Kittle here, and I think this is fair to wonder. I'm not saying this. I'm saying it's fair to wonder. What's going on with all of these injuries? I know the game is so violent. I know that the game inherently is going to get you hurt all the time. This is a guy who it feels like he can't go a couple weeks without something coming up. Yeah. And then that to me is okay, maybe because of all the wear and tear on the O-line, maybe I shouldn't have him block as much. If I want to help him from staying and being a key part of this team moving forward. I do think that they need to assess those, what's the value of this here now? And I know that that's part of his game, but maybe he has to evolve his game. I'm just wondering that out loud.
Sometimes I wonder, can you play 12 games in a season? Can you give it 12 to 13 games this season? Because I'm looking at his contract, and after 2023, there's a potential out there. But I wonder, next year he's going to make $11.6 million in base salary. He's going to get another $3.6 for signing. It's a lot of money for a guy who's been nicked up a lot over the past 2 years. And I know you see the percentages. Oh, he's played 84% of the games. But how much has he been compromised because of these injuries?
That's the way I would phrase it.
The fractured ankle.
Yes.
The pop castle in the kneecap. Last year, whatever was going on with him, he was obviously not 100%. And when he's not 100%, he's not the same in the passing game. No. He may be the same in the run game, but I need him in the passing game because I have limited weapons outside. The great thing, this is why I want Debo. We were having a conversation yesterday about Debo playing running back or whether or not you want to play a full-time running back. And I hear where you're coming from. You're just trying to figure something out to make this offense go.
Yeah.
Now, I think you can't make the offense go in that because everybody saw it last year. That was their default. You know what? Here's our wrinkle. Let's play Debo in the backfield. And let's make something happen. Well, teams have had an entire offseason to get ready for that. Where can I get Debo down the field one-on-one against a corner?
So here's not corner. Because they did it in the game where they had
safety
him,
or whatnot.
But they had him in the backfield. And I'll let you finish. They had him in the backfield multiple times where he's running a wheel route with a linebacker lined up there because he was in the running back spot and it was wide open on multiple occasions.
I have a feeling that defense will adjust to that.
I'm sure
Debo may run that wheel route. We need a safety on him instead of a linebacker. Yeah. He was open. That would have gone for a touchdown. Nobody talks about it. Got to make a throw there.
Well, and there was a couple that he didn't even look in his direction.
Yeah, I know. But if I could get Debo, instead of running to get 7 and 8 man boxes, can I get him down the field to where I can get him some one-on-ones and maybe make a man miss and he goes for 50, he goes for 40. Instead of going to get 7 and 8 guys, let me try to get him against 1 or 2 guys down the field because what's his greatest trait? He breaks tackles.
Yeah.
He's tough to tackle one-on-one. So can I get him down the field and get him in situations to where all he has to do is beat a corner or a safety or a linebacker instead of going to get 7 and 8 man walls to where he's getting smashed for 2 yards on a running play. Same thing with Ayuk. Can I create some opportunities down the field one-on-one for Brandon Ayuk and have these guys going against the secondary instead of jet sweeps against 8 man fronts? That's all I'm looking for.
Totally fair. Totally fair. I do keep coming back to George Kittle has got to he's got to have a pop game. I mean, he's got to have a pop game at some point, and they need him so bad to have a pop game, and I don't know how or what it looks like when you have this offensive line and you know that they're going to utilize him to chip and stay in and block, and I feel like this might be a lost year for the guy, and that sucks.
Part of the reason why
but an underwhelming season,
I
hear
what you're saying. But if we keep going here and moving forward, it's going to come down to the quarterback making some throws.
No doubt.
Can your quarterback make throws? Because
I feel
we talk about pop
the
games.
Same conversation.
We had, and that's why I get a headache over it.
I know, and I'm sure the audience does too. I don't mean it like that.
Think about it. Third play of the game in the NFC Championship game.
He's wide open.
Those are the pop plays we're talking about. Those are the pop plays you have to take advantage of.
Yeah.
Those are the pop plays that have been missing from this offense over the last 2 seasons. And why? It's because the quarterback just can't make a throw. That's it. That's it. And that's sad because last week the talking point was the quarterback gives you a better chance to win now.
He can't play any worse than what he did last week.
Yeah.
He's got to have a better game this week. He has
No
to.
doubt.
Like, there's just no way he could play that bad 2 weeks in a row.
All right, defense.
I can't see it.
Where's this defense rank with the best 49ers defenses in the last 20 years? 888-957-9570, because it feels like the defense may have to carry another one on Monday night for the 49ers to get that win and move to improve to 2-2. We'll talk about that and discuss that. Your phone calls, 888-957-9570. That's all coming up. Brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full service banking, no compromises.
Damon and Ratto. Live on Twitch and YouTube.
I want to talk about this defense. This is a defense that you absolutely want to buy stock in right now. And the season is basically now in the hands of this defense. That's it. Boys, it's on you. And there is absolutely no doubt that all of the frustration that the 49ers have given us this year have been on Kyle's side of the ball.
Just go to Twitch or YouTube and search 957 The Game.
This is world-renowned handicapper Chris Hodge from TakingVegas.com, and I am off to a 13-2 pro football start, which included a huge Sunday in Week 3 as I went 4-1. Tonight, absolutely free at TakingVegas.com is our Thursday Night Football game of the month between Miami and Cincinnati. I have won 8 straight games of the month, and tonight, absolutely free. Miami and Cincinnati. Just visit TakingVegas.com. That's TakingVegas.com. There's nothing to buy. There's no hassle. There's no obligation. There's just a free pro football pick between Miami and Cincinnati tonight at TakingVegas.com. I am 13-2 in pro football this season. I went 4-1 last Sunday. And I am going to nail this pro football game tonight absolutely free at TakingVegas.com. Just visit TakingVegas.com. That's TakingVegas.com.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New Gigabit Extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
The Grand National Rodeo at the Cow Palace, October 7th and 8th. Don't miss the action of bronc and bucks, bareback riding, stair wrestling, bull riding, and more. Get your tickets for the Grand National Rodeo at the Cow Palace today at cowpalace.com.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Is there a calculator that can't compute in your kitchen drawer? Recycle it at Staples. A shredder that won't shred under your bed? Or a collection of cables cluttering up your closet? Recycle them now at Staples. With Staples Free Tech Takeback, we'll recycle your old tech free. Plus, rewards members get $5 back in rewards. So if you have modems, mice, and mobile phones making a mess of your home, recycle them now at Staples. Limit 1 reward per month. Redeemable in-store only. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/recycling for details.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
In San Francisco this morning, partly cloudy skies, highs in the upper 60s.
Weather brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Your neighborhood Ashley store has all the styles, selection, and value you'll need to invite fall in this season. Find furniture you'll love by shopping locally or visit Ashley.com today.
Score big with Xfinity Internet. It's made to do anything, so you can do anything. Supercharge your home with the game-changing speed of supersonic Wi-Fi. With 3 times more bandwidth, it covers the field and then some. And blocks billions of threats with advanced security that helps keep you protected at home and on the go. If you're keeping score, that's internet that does it all. That's unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas.
Hockey season is here, and 95.7 The Game has your shot at tickets to check out the San Jose Sharks in their home opener against Carolina on October 14th. Listen to Willard and Dibbs around 10:30 for your chance to win.
Now, back to the morning roast with Bonte and Shasky.
Rest in peace, Coolio. Passed away yesterday at the age of 59. Congrats to Aaron Judge. He's going for 62 home runs in the American League lead, or the greatest American League season possibly all time when it comes to home run hitting. The Yankees will host the Orioles Friday, so with their pitching, I think Aaron Judge will get 62 this weekend in the Bronx. But congrats to Aaron Judge. Rest in peace to Coolio. Niners, Rams beat LA Monday Night Football, 5:15 kick. Rams come in at 2-1. Stafford. Dun, dun. Classic Niner Rams games. We've had some classic ones on Monday Night Football. The John Taylor game. Who doesn't remember that? Anaheim Stadium. Monday Night Football, 92-yard quick
game
slant.
that got him back on track last year.
Yeah, it was. It changed the season. Monday Night Football. Rams are 2-1. Stafford, 5 interceptions so far on the season. He will throw them up, although last week he played a little bit better, but they limited his pass attempts. He was down to 25 pass attempts. Maybe there's something going on with that elbow. We'll talk about the defense, because right now the Niners defense is the talk of the town. Forget the quarterback. The quarterback is struggling. He's got to get on track. The offense has to get on track. They're going to need something from the offense. But this defense has been so good, we're probably being unfair to ask them to carry this football team. Well, they have a chance this week against the Rams and that beat-up offensive line.
The defense can carry this team, but you need to have complementary football on the other side that, enables them to be their best. You can't turn the ball over and give them a short-sided field, right? Trey Lance did that in week 1, and we obviously see Jimmy Garoppolo do that in the game before, the game that we just watched. Like, you cannot have unsustainable drives.
Right.
I think the Niners defense caused, 8 3-and-outs in this game?
Yeah.
8 3-and-outs, and it felt like the Niners just couldn't muster any first downs on their behalf. I'm not saying you got to score on every possession, but at least move the ball a little.
Move it.
I'd like to see them run the ball a little better so that the clock ticks off too, to kind of allow this defense to catch their breath. But the key thing for me when I watch this team, it feels like to me they've got multiple players at every level of the defense who is good to great.
Right.
Hufanga and Ward, Mooney Ward, look good to great to me. Okay, you want to throw Mosley in there? I'll listen to that. When Jimmy Ward comes back, I think it adds another guy. I look at the linebackers. Greenlaw and Warner, good to great, right? At some level, no matter what you think of those guys. Then you look at the defensive line. When Armstead's in there, I think he's really good. Bosa's clearly great. You know, Kinlaw has flashed and shown good. Ibacham has shown good. Drake Jackson has shown good.
Gibbons.
So the thing for me, when I look at that entire defense as a whole, they've got good to great, multiple guys at every level of the defense.
So, with that said, what can make this defense greater? Right now, they've been good, but there's a caveat. Played against Chicago.
Of
One of
course.
the worst offenses in pro football.
Undeniable.
We played against Seattle and Geno Smith.
They might be a top 5 team drafting this year. We'll see when the year shakes down.
And then Denver.
Offense does not look good.
Does not look good right now.
It looks like a work in progress, to say the least.
So the defense hasn't really seen a top flight offense. This probably is the best offense they've played so far.
Yeah, this is a big test.
It's a big test. McVay, Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, Cam Akers, no Whitworth, and they still have a defense that shut down Arizona last week. It's no easy task to shut down Kyler Murray. We can say what we want about Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. He's still a dynamic player, and the Rams have their numbers. So they beat him up in Glendale last week. And you know the Rams, they're thinking, let's just shut them up. They're going to continue to talk about the 6-game winning streak. We're going to talk about the NFC Championship game. Let's go to Levi's and get one and improve to 3-1. The Rams can take control of this division if they win. Yeah. They can. They'll be up 3-1. They'll be 3-1 with a tie break so far over the Niners and the Cardinals. This defense this week has to take the ball away. They have to force an interception. They have to force fumbles, and I think that's what can make them great. You want to put them in a category with 2011? You want to put them in that category with 2019? Well, this defense has to start forcing turnovers.
You know, the thing I can't shake out of my head when I'm just thinking about the Niners as a whole, offense, defense, whatever you want to call it, we keep talking about, like, DeMeco Ryans, and he's doing great this year, right? And when he first stepped onto the scene, I didn't really know. I thought it was a big question mark. You know, what's he going to look like? They've already lost to 2 rookie head coaches because I'm keep comparing Shanahan to this guy and that guy. I'm like, they've lost to 2 rookie coaches.
I know.
Right? And so I'm looking at this coaching staff as a whole, and at least specifically on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm like, look, I'm not happy with the quarterback play either. But at some point, we got to figure something out here, guys. We got to get this thing going. And so that's my biggest thing. Like, I know what the D is going to keep this team in the game.
Right.
Can this offense do anything against Raheem Morris
I don't
and
know.
that defense?
That's the $1 million question. I wonder. To the segment
Isn't that kind of crazy that they lost to 2 rookie coaches?
Matty.
Because I was like looking at McVay and I'm looking at Shanahan.
Matty Eberflus and Nathaniel Hackett, and people were ripping Nathaniel Hackett.
I was.
They were calling him the worst coach of football. And they just got a win over Shanahan. Matt Eberflus has a win over Shanahan. I don't know what I'm going to see from this offense, but it feels like if they don't win this football game, then the trend of bad offensive football, just enough defense to stay in the game, that will continue as the schedule ramps up.
If I gave you $100 right now, no, you know what? I give you $500,000 right now. Are you putting it on the 49ers scoring more than 20 or less than 20?
Scoring less than 20. Scoring less than 20. I got them. This could be like a 16-13 game. A 17-13 game. Like, how much faith do you have the Niners in moving the ball up and down the field against this Rams defense with Aaron Donald and this offensive line looking shaky? Now they get the extra day off.
I have a lot of faith in
it. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like their linebacking core is much improved because that was the one area where I always said, like, oh, you could beat them in the middle of the field. I'm not sure you can do that still.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, boy. I don't know. Although we got some things going on in the studio. Mark Willers having a nice little conversation. Aaron Donald, Ashawn Robinson, who also had a big-time NFC Championship
yes,
game
he did.
out of Alabama. He really took over. So the running game,
good call.
If the Niners aren't running the football, how can they have set up time to throw? And it always leads back to the offense and the quarterback just making a couple throws. Bobby Wagner, Leonard Floyd, Jalen Ramsey, Taylor Rapp. Defense is really, really good.
But I look at our offense, and I'm like, we have too many good players. Even though the O-line is not great, and I know the quarterback play is suspect at times, they have too many great players to not score 20? 20? With an offensive-minded head coach?
Divisional game.
I mean, and I get it, league, because I didn't know that, but Jason Aponte said through 3 games, league scoring is down right now. Defenses are ahead of the offenses. Yep. Okay.
Well, that's why you're going to get people talking about the preseason, saying maybe you should play a couple more series in the preseason, because now look at the month of September. Offenses look decrepit. Half of these offenses look decrepit. They can't even move the ball. Can't even throw the ball. Justin Fields, go ask him to throw the ball.
He's completed 8 passes on Sunday, and they won.
They won the football game.
So, I mean,
Must be nice.
Whatever.
Let's go to Rob in San Bruno. Rob, what's happening? You're on the roast, listening via the car radio. What's up, Rob?
What's going on, fellas?
Yep. What up?
Man, we need Jimmy G to step it up. I'm not getting off his throat. We need Jimmy G to step it up because when Trey was playing his first game, they was ready to get rid of the guy because he didn't perform well in the storm. But they forget about last year when Jimmy Garoppolo almost threw out the playoffs. Who they put in the game to throw from the pocket to make plays to save our season? Was it Nick Mullins? No, it was Trey Lance. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna need Jimmy Garoppolo to play better. I don't want this defense wasted. And in my opinion, we've seen this 2011, 2012, 2019. If 2020, 2021, if your offense can't really score a lot of points, you're gonna put. Not 2012, they scored points, but you're going to put too much pressure on the defense. And all it takes is one bad play. They can play good the whole game. Example, I remember you remember in 2014 against Seattle, and it was a close game. We was playing great, and then Reed took a bad angle on Marshawn. He went 50 to the house. And all it takes is one bad play. So I'm not Jimmy. Okay. Jimmy has to play better, bottom line. And I'm keep the pressure on him and Kyle too, because everybody at locker room who ran this Mike Silver talking about, we're a better football team. I need all them guys to step up and make it for Jimmy's mistakes. No excuses. We gotta get this ball.
No doubt. And you know what, Rob, good call. And that's the thing. If they didn't run to Michael Silver and say what they said, maybe we wouldn't be this intense in our pressure on Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo. But the fact that people did run to Michael Silver a day when Trey Lance broke his fibula and tore ligaments in his ankle. The day that happens, the guys are saying, well, Jimmy does give us a better chance to win. Okay, then show me. You can't backpedal now and say, Jimmy was who we all thought he was. No. You got a lot of people said Jimmy gives his team a better chance to win. Now, this week is pretty funny. I haven't heard from Mike Martz. I haven't heard from Michael Lombardi. I've seen Cowher backpedal and say, how come we're not giving Jimmy the same excuse that we give Brady and Stafford? Because Jimmy's not Brady and Stafford, Colin Cowherd. Okay? Where are those people at now? Now everybody's saying, well, Jimmy gives them a better chance to win. Where are all those people at? Rob's right. Jimmy does need to step up.
No doubt.
He needs to step up. Kittle needs to step up. Whatever they need to do to figure this offensive football out and move into the 2022s and not revert back to the 1970s with offensive football, something needs to pop, and it's on them.
I'm going to ask.
Right. You can't put pressure on. Dante Pettis changed the game in one play.
No, I doubt.
That one play changed the entire game in week one.
The Russ making a couple plays in that one, you could feel the momentum shifting. Let me ask you a philosophical question. We don't do this in football as often. We don't use this phrase, slumps.
Yeah.
We do it in other sports. Curry's in a shooting slump.
Right.
Mark Grace is in a hitting slump. You know what I mean? We do this in other sports. I believe there are plays on the field. Jimmy wasn't hitting them, fine. But I also don't think that Kyle has been the greatest this year in general.
He's in a play calling slump.
I'm just asking. I guess I'm asking, do you see kind of a slump? Like I think he's good. That doesn't mean he can't be criticized, and that doesn't mean that you don't have bad times. Like even Bill Walsh talked about there were times where he would go through a funk.
Right.
Do you subscribe to the coaching slump?
I do.
Even a little. Kind of a little. We do with players, I believe.
We do. Coach can't dial up a right play. Coach doesn't call a timeout when you need a timeout.
Your feel is just a little off.
Right. Yeah, like in basketball. Team's on a run, and you're letting the team just go on a run. It's like, yo, how many times have we screamed at the television? Yo, call a timeout.
Yeah.
They're in an 18-2 run. You may want to stop action real quick and make an adjustment.
Exactly.
Baseball managers pulling the wrong reliever or pulling out a starting pitcher where you're like, I'm going to the reliever. Maybe he went to the reliever too early. Having to fill for the game, which Kapler hasn't had a lot of this season. Let's just be honest. I do believe it slumps.
Yeah,
I do believe it slumps.
Too.
And these teams have made adjustments on Shanahan and his offense. So when he said on Monday, the Debo thing, a lot of teams know it's coming and they're not surprised by it. And, we got to figure something out there. It's on you, Kyle.
Well,
figure it out.
I'm looking at the Rams and I'm asking out loud, could this be a slump buster? Somebody that you know so well and they know you so well and you really can't. You're not going to surprise them per se, but you understand what the soft parts of their team are and what the strengths of their team are so well that you almost can't have a bad game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I look at some of these division matchups, these big ones,
Right.
and it's going to be tight. I feel like this could be a slump buster game for both Jimmy and for Kyle.
Yep. And it could be a game that gets sideways. Do you have a lot of confidence? Are you confident going into this Monday night?
No, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they totally shut everyone up and had a great game. Because Jimmy's erratic. Like, that's the other, like, he's so consistent. No,
he's erratic.
He's dramatically erratic.
It's the reason why we coined the Jimmy O no throw.
Yeah, he's erratic. But I also believe that this team offensively is erratic at times. Like, there's games that Kittle gets 12 targets, and then there's games he gets 1. You know, Ayuk looks like he's going to move forward. And, this is who he is. And then he goes back into the witness protection program.
MDK1 on YouTube. More of a rut than a slump, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's not bad.
We're parsing
Right,
words.
yeah, no doubt. That's
I'm
not
with
bad.
That.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
But Fazil and Fremont.
They are in a rut. I would agree
they're
that.
big
They
time
are in a rut.
They got to get out of it on Monday night. Fazil and Fremont. Watching via YouTube. What's happening? You're on the roast.
Hey, Aponte and Shasty, hope all is well.
What up?
I'm going to be there Monday night against the 49ers-Rams games. I'm going to be there with my sister. I'm just like, I don't want to waste this all-time probably a great defense that we have, like we've had in 2011, 2012, 2013, and we had in 2019, and it all ended up on the short end. I don't want to waste with this team that we have right now, this well-constructed roster. We need to get our offense together. Jimmy needs to step it up. Like this past Sunday night, my dad lost his mind when he stepped out of the end zone and threw that pick six on the same play. On the same play.
Yeah, that was wild.
He threw a pick, and I was losing myself. I was like, we're not winning this game. I was like, even though it's 7-5 at that time, I was like, we're not winning this game. They need to get their act together. Just like last year, it was something like this. We were 3-5. It was week 10. Everyone threw in the towel, including myself. And it was a Monday night game, and they came out and they played absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I hope the defense carries its way, and I hope, they step it up, they get their stuff together, and, they get this victory on Monday night.
Big.
Am I too jaded? He brought up the, Jimmy stepping out of bounds. Am I too jaded where we're in this bubble? I feel like the butt fumble and the butt kick are all way bigger stories than the running out of the bounds thing.
And the running out of bounds thing should be bigger, right? Because you're a quarterback. How many quarterbacks you see? Yeah, how many quarterbacks you see take a snap from the end zone, run a play action pass? Hell, Trey Lance did. I know it's preseason, but he did in the preseason game 2 years ago.
It would be on a nonstop loop on every channel.
Oh, he's not ready. Trey Lance had a play action pass on the goal line last year in the preseason and threw a dime to Ross Dwelly from the goal line, from the 1 yard line. So I do see play action there, but it's got to be quicker. That play was just trash. It was too long developing.
But do you get where I'm going? But it feels like I'm being real. It just feels like to me, we just insulate Jimmy at every turn as a media, as a whole. It feels like he gets very little criticism in general. Now, I know this station, we've crushed him a lot, and our fan base has crushed him a lot the entire time. But nationally, I just don't see that kind of criticism.
Yeah, no, it's Jimmy gets a pass. I mean, the Jimmy ghosting story.
If Geno Smith did it, if Geno Smith ran out of bounds, wouldn't we be destroying him?
But the Jimmy ghosting story, right? If that was Lamar Jackson, if that was any other quarter, it would have been a huge deal. And some people just swept it under the rug. Remember, I got mad at the beat writer saying, wait a minute, that's just Jimmy. We've all known about it. That should be a big story. The quarterback, the franchise leader, the guy who has posters all over Levi's Stadium is ghosting the team? How's that not a bigger story? Whether or not I believe it is one thing.
I'm with you.
But it's just the way Jimmy's covered, man. It's really weird.
It is weird, isn't it?
It's just weird. Let's go to Jeff in Concord. Jeff, he's watching on YouTube.
I find it weird,
too. Jeff's on the morning roast. What's happening?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good, Jeff. Good.
Thanks for taking my call. Hey, Bonte, I wanted to get your take on one thing.
What about mine?
You just said that if Jimmy or if Trey had stepped out of the end zone, this would be, on a loop. And I have to ask you, how much of this do you think is because Jimmy's a good-looking white guy and Trey's a black guy? Do you think race is involved in any of this?
I don't want to blame it on the race. I don't want to blame it on race.
You know what? I know you're the black guy.
But the black quarterback does get covered differently, and it's pretty ironic that the players of the month in the NFL are two black quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. They're the players of the month.
Would you mind if I speak on my behalf, but also for others?
Sure.
Okay. As the white guy, not that it disqualifies or qualifies me to have it. The number one attribute for Trey Lance coming out was intelligence.
Yep.
Intelligence. The number one story from every person that I trust with the 49ers who told me why they chose Trey Lance was that when they went into that room and they talked with him and they got on that whiteboard and they started writing things up. Remember the old quarterback Gruden things?
Yep.
They were blown away at his intelligence, his football IQ, and his ability to absorb information. Okay? My number one knock on Jimmy Garoppolo is football intelligence. I sometimes I don't think he sees the field. I just don't think he sees the field. Right now, you can say, Joe, how many quarterbacks see the field? I don't know. But it feels like to me, the way we talk about Trey Lance, running quarterback, and to me, there is an automatic assumption, not smart enough, and I don't think everyone's doing this, but a lot of people, not smart enough to know where to throw the ball. That's the way it feels like it's landing on my lap, and it really, really, really bugs me.
Well,
and I can't understand for the life of me where we went from 2020. He was drafted because of intelligence and because of his IQ. Yes, the physical gifts, of course, but the big difference between him and Justin Fields, between him and Mac Jones, was he blew them away on the whiteboard.
Right.
And yet we've gotten so far away from that, and it's never brought up once as one of his attributes.
Right.
The first thing we go to is running, mobility,
and he's not that.
And it's intelligence. And the number one knock I have for Jimmy Garoppolo, it's not mobility or lack thereof. It's not even arm strength. It's decision making. It's football IQ. And yet everyone's afraid to address it. And it really, really bugs me. Again, as the resident white guy, that's all. It bugs me.
There's a clip circulating yesterday from Colin Cowherd. This is before Sam Darnold went number 3 overall. This is before Baker Mayfield went number 1 overall to Cleveland. Cowherd was saying, Lamar Jackson, he's not even the same league as Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield. It's not even close. Said it's not even close.
He was so high on Sam Darnold.
Bill Polian, Lamar should move to wide receiver. Right off the rip, just move to wide receiver. And now you look at this, 4 years later, Lamar Jackson's about to get a big-time payday. He's being one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Sam Darnold is closer to being out the league than he is to playing on the football field. Sam Darnold stinks. Oh, he said Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen was the guy. Josh Rosen's not in his league either. So, yes, there is a way we talk about black quarterbacks, and we never bring up the intelligence. We never do. Warren Moon never gets talked about for intelligence, right?
But it bugs me. It bugs me, right?
And how do you think I feel?
Well, and the other part of this is, and this is just, when I look at emotional maturity and self-awareness, Trey checks both those boxes.
He takes accountability all the time.
All the time. And that's what I'm looking for in my quarterback. I don't care what color you are. Right. I want the best player, period. I don't care who you are.
What was disappointing about Jimmy last week, and the last 2 weeks, one, it's like riding a bike. I feel so comfortable with these players. I feel so comfortable in the huddle. It's like riding a bike. Use check. That's 49er football. The very next week, you hear, not having a training camp at OTAs has set me back. Arm sore. It's going to take some time. It's going to be a work in progress. Well, now we don't want to hear that. Once you said it was like riding a bike, now we expect you to play up to your capabilities, whatever that is. Last week, he didn't play up to his capabilities. And then he blamed it on not having a training camp at OTAs. Said the arm was sore. Said it's going to take time. Well, guess what, Jimmy? And to everybody else who said this team was better with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, we don't have time to wait. Because if you lose this game on Monday night, you're 1-3. And now I'm thinking to myself, damn, you may be 3-5 going into the bye week. Hell, you may be 2-6. This thing could spiral out of control because Carolina has a defense. Like, this is not getting easier for the 49ers after this week. We all think that East Coast trip is easy, but how do you think these defenses are feeling against Jimmy Garoppolo? They're watching the same film we all watch, and they're better at it. Reds are saying, Jimmy, wow, we get to play against this guy. You don't think Carolina and Burns coming off the edge saying, we get to play against this guy. Atlanta and the new Mercedes-Benz Dome, they got number 10 at quarterback. They're salivating to play Garoppolo right now in this offense. So, race always has something to do with it when it comes to quarterbacks. It's so different how we cover them.
It's so different, and it really makes me angry. And it's not everyone. I'm not saying it's everyone, but it's hard for me to overlook it. And it's so obvious now it shouldn't be this way, but we're here. And look, Josh Allen. If Josh Allen looked like Lamar Jackson, I think we would talk about him in a different way. He's running all over the place, and people are loving it. But you can't play that way. It's not sustainable.
But he's throwing from the pocket, though. You see him last week in New England?
He does throw from the pocket.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
He does. That's the way he plays the game.
He's been to the playoffs. Herbert hasn't.
There's a lot going on with the Herbert situation with Staley. They're very injured. I'm not in on that coach at all.
Yeah. The Chargers, they're just going to be Chargers. By the way, tomorrow, don't forget, 3 a.m., little Warriors basketball. They're playing in Tokyo, Japan against the Wizards. We're going to carry it live right here on 95.7 The Game at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Plus, we'll replay it at 6 p.m. on 95.7 The Game, your home for Warriors basketball. With that said, let's flex.